Lincoln.
Come on, it's 6 o'clock. Rise and shine, rise and shine.
It's time for Early Break with Sip and Jake, brought to you by Dana Trucking. Live from the Copple Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. Here's 93.7 The Ticket's Jake Sorensen. His team kind of and Steve Sipple. This is Early Break with Sip and Jake, sponsored by Dana Trucking.
Good morning, happy Thursday. Jake Sorensen, Early Break, full show ahead, lots to get to. We have Mike Schaefer for the entire 7 o'clock hour, as always, for recruiting questions and more. Rick Heyman's Song of the Day at 6:45. How are you today?
Fine. And you?
I'm great.
Great. You got your polo on?
I have a polo on 99.5% of the time. You walked in today and said, wow, you're wearing a polo. I said, I mean, I guess I wore a sweatshirt for one show last week, but otherwise,
yeah, you're right.
If you watch the replay of our video on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter, you'll see I have a polo on.
Yeah, maybe it's because you had it under your pullover.
Yes, it was a different pullover. You've not seen that before. I've never worn that one to work, so that's probably why.
That's probably it. And also, it's that time of year where it seems like it's pretty casual out there. Don't you think?
I think you're thrown off because I'm thinking about this. It's cold outside. I typically am wearing a jacket, and you could see my polo below that,
right?
Which you usually can't see,
right?
So that's why I'm thinking you're off this morning.
Yeah,
regarding that.
Oh, I'm a little off. I'm a little off anyway. This time of year is a little odd.
Well, let's get you on then.
Yeah. Okay. That means.
I don't know what that means, but let's get you back in. You can always call or text the show 402-464-5685. Watch and comment on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter. The show is sponsored by Dana Trucking. Do you have any idle chit chat this morning?
Yeah, I do. I got the hogs going.
Yeah,
Oh, that's annoying. That's annoying.
Here's what you did before the show. You said, "Oh God, these are awful." I said, "What's wrong?" You said, "Look, there's two different types of cough drops here. Here's one that's regular and one that's severe." Right?
Yeah.
And the severe ones are bad?
Oh, man,
they taste bad?
The good news for you is all I have left is severe ones after this one that's in
So that means you won't chomp them like candy then?
I won't even put them in my mouth.
Because as you and I have discussed, I'm guilty of this too. If I have cough, I abuse the cough drops and use them as candy. I don't suck, I chomp on them.
Mm-hmm. You're nervous.
It's not nervous.
That's nervous energy.
Well, I chomp all my candy.
That's nervous energy. You're nervous.
I don't have the patience to just suck on a candy.
Yeah, it's patience. It's lack of patience, and you're nervous. I don't know about
nervous to eat cough drops.
Latent nerves. I don't know.
Is that right?
Yeah.
No, I just don't want to, it's a long time to commit to the cough drop or the spree or whatever it is,
Okay.
Or a sucker.
Full disclosure.
Yes.
One thing I've done, and I do it when I have a cough. When I go to bed, I'll put in a cough drop and not do anything with it. And it can be there for 5 hours. You can have
that's a choking hazard there, possibly.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, if you go to sleep with a cough drop in your mouth, it's not big enough probably to choke on it. It can cause some problems.
They melt.
You're going to tell me you've had a cough drop while you slept for 5 hours in your mouth? I'm going to call BS.
Nope, you can't call BS because it's probably happened 5 or 6 times.
5 hours.
Yeah, you can lodge it.
Why would you do that?
Because I mean,
is this intentional?
To keep you from coughing.
It's called like NyQuil or Mucinex.
Or take lodging.
Don't lodge a cough drop in your throat or your side of your mouth.
It works
to try to not cough at night time.
Yeah, I can only imagine what Trixie
is. But for anybody in the world that's listening to this right now,
I'll bet that you'll find on the text and somebody who's done the same thing, because I often do things where I think, oh, this is kind of weird, but then I find out other people do it too. I don't think it's as weird as you portray it.
Matt says, Sip better not be using cough drops this morning. Well, you've already said that you're going to.
I have one lodged.
You have lodged in there.
I have one lodged at the top of my what do you call this?
What? Your
the
mouth?
top of your mouth.
The
yeah.
roof of your
Yeah,
mouth?
the roof of my mouth. I went lodged right now.
Jordan says Sip also leaves bacon cookie on the stove as he drifts off to sleep, so it's hot and crispy in the morning.
No, I don't.
If the house hasn't burnt down yet,
No,
yeah.
I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't think you can choke on it.
Okay, someone is on your side. Someone says, Jake, you child. Cough drops at night is an old man trick that works.
There you go.
This is news to me. Listen, I've
There
never
you
heard
go.
somebody
There you go.
going to sleep with a cough drop
Uh-huh.
knowingly in their mouth,
Soothing. It's soothing.
knowing that you could swallow that thing wrong and have some
You're not
problems.
gonna
Wake
do
up
that.
coughing and cause more coughing.
No, it's
Because
lodged and it shrinks. It diminishes as cough drops do.
Okay, I got to read some of this because I was not expecting this. This is this is in your favor. I'm reading these
Not
texts.
surprised.
You think sometimes I hide the text line from you from the good
I know
stuff.
you do.
I have a lot of texts coming in. Let's get
Okay.
to this,
Okay.
and then we'll move on from
All right,
idle
it's
chit
just idle chit chat.
It is
Sponsored by
Newton's Lawn Care. Dustin in Florida says this. Good morning, fellas. My wife sleeps with cough drops every single night.
There you go.
I'm not done yet. This is in your favor. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm helping you
This
out.
is in your face.
T and Davy, lodging cough drops. Done it.
Bam. Thank you.
Joe and Boulder.
Our Joe.
I do the same, Jake. It works so I don't cough all night.
Right.
How have I never heard of this before? I've never heard of this as a thing.
You're relatively close-minded about some things.
Oh, sorry, that was Tony Baloney, but Joe and Boulder does say I do the same. So,
Okay.
yeah, so that was
Thank
Tony
you,
who
Tony
says that.
Baloney.
But Joe and Boulder also does the same. That one guy says I stick Kleenex in my nose at night when it's running.
The things humans do. Yeah.
Will the Thrill says I did the same thing last night. I had a cough drop last night in my mouth.
And it can stay in there for, over a period of hours. I know that I've awakened and thought, oh God, that cough drop was in all night.
It's actually pretty impressive.
I know.
Texture says I've done it before, but also with Tums.
Okay.
Oh
Oh
no, Tums are not meant to be just left in your mouth.
No,
You're
I've never
supposed to
done
chew
that.
those. It
Yeah.
goes down in your stomach.
Yeah, I've never done that.
I don't
never
get the
done that.
Tums one.
No, I don't get the Tums one.
Like cough drops, you're supposed to suck because it's supposed to help your cough. A Tums is supposed to go down into your stomach
One thing I've
to ease the pain.
One thing I've learned about Tums, as this is an age thing.
Okay.
There's age things. Tums now are just part of my life. I mean, I just have a Tums. I wake up and have a Tums. I have one in the
I don't
daytime.
think that's good.
Why?
You're addicted to Tums.
I'm not addicted. It's not an addiction. It's just a.
You shouldn't have to operate with Tums to make your life work. That's a
Right.
problem. You should probably get that checked out. Anyone who's like, here's the deal.
Why do I need to get that checked
Tums
out?
are not vitamins. They're not vitamins. It's a form of medicine.
I know it is, but if you just
A
have
cough drop is kind of a form of medicine. They're not supposed to be daily vices, like vitamin C pills.
It's not a vice.
Are
It's not smoking. It's a Tums.
a
It's
vitamin
not
C
gambling.
pill,
It's a Tums.
a calcium pill. Like that's vitamins here.
No.
Cough drops, not vitamin. Medicine.
Text line will support me again.
Tums, not a vitamin. It's a medicine. I'm not.
You're going to be 0 for 3
No, I'm
on
not.
reading glasses, cough drop lodged in your mouth at night, and Tums as a regular thing in your diet.
What whoever says that's normal, I'm concerned for them. You can
No,
say
no.
it's normal and say I think you got something.
You're 31. I'm 56.
I hope I never have to eat Tums every day or a couple times a day. That's a sign of bigger problems.
No, it's not.
It's like you're putting
Quit
off a
doing
problem
that.
and you're adding more to it. Okay, more text here before we move on.
All right.
This is back to cough drops.
This is really good idle chit.
It is great. It's a long one. Yeah, we're getting Newton's Lawn Care take cover today. Someone says, I actually sleep with them all the time. The worst part of a cough is trying to fall asleep.
Yeah. Thank you.
Colt says, I'm laughing. Colt says, I'm laughing so much right now because I have been doing that the last 3 nights. I've been coughing all night the last 3 nights, and I go to bed with Ricolas.
There you go. Lodge them, because some of it's, I think, mental. I think you just think, okay, I got a cough drop in there. And it becomes almost a mental thing. But I do think it works.
I did not expect you to be this much supported on this topic.
I know you didn't.
Thought this would be another weird thing you're doing.
You are somewhat closed-minded about
a
things.
little bit,
yeah.
But this one still is weird to me. I will not participate in this myself.
Not yet.
Jeremiah says, I've totally slept with the cough drop. I'm worried about choking, though. See, that's my concern. Okay, John in Des Moines chimes in.
John, very reasonable person.
Okay, well, here's his stance on it. Thank you, Mr. Reasonable. He says, I've never heard of anyone going to sleep with a cough drop. Why would you just take one 30 minutes before you go to sleep so it's gone?
Again, I don't know how to answer that, except for I think some of it's mental and some of it's it's working as you're lying there.
That's your response, right there.
It's doing its thing,
Is that right?
as you are drifting into la la land.
I just don't think it's probably the wisest choice.
You're not going to choke. I couldn't choke on this.
You can't tell me that.
Well, I have a cough drop in my mouth right now, and I couldn't choke on it if I wanted to.
Well, guess what? It's not a block of ice. It just melts if you put water on your mouth. It's not. It's a solid thing that will big enough to cause a problem. Yeah, it is. Why don't you open them right now and just swallow it and see how that goes for you?
I could do that. You want me to
maybe go? No, I don't want you to, but hypothetically, that's an ask for me.
You can lodge it.
Colt says I'm losing, Jake. I'm not losing. I am still not going to do this actively ever.
Jake. You've taken 2 big L's.
What was the other one?
This and the reading glasses.
That was bad, wasn't it? I'm not taking an L on this Thomas thing, though. No way. Don't sleep. What's the point of sleeping with Thomas?
For our new listeners,
yeah,
Jake maintained a few weeks ago that that there's no need for reading glasses. I can't even say it. That there's no need for reading glasses. That they're just useless.
I've learned that was a stupid take.
Really bad.
Well, the fact that you could buy them for $2 is why you need this then,
You can't.
So, have you been to Super Saver yet? Someone said you could buy them for $3 at Super Saver.
That's $3.50, not $2.
Okay, $3.50. Okay. Well, what a big expense that is.
Well,
pecan pie. I'm on your side, Jake.
Oh, really? Pecan pie?
I'm not alone here.
Well, there's got to be people that don't understand.
Oh, John and Fremont. I'm 60 years old. I'm with Jake. I Googled it quickly, and it is a choking hazard. Of course, no, you don't need to Google. Of course, it's a choking hazard. That's why I was so shocked by this conversation.
Here I sit.
David says this is not a loss for Jake. Thank you. Now we're starting to get people on my side. You got your first ones.
You're like Andy Gibb.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, this has been Idle Chit Chat, sponsored by Newton's Lawn Care. If you want to get ahead for your 2023 fertilizer program, call Andrew and his team at 402-440-6297.
Taking another loss, 614 on January 5th. We join you from Central Lincoln, and we're going to now talk about football.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
464-5685. Call or text as always. So we mentioned yesterday on the show that it feels like Penn State's season just kind of happened and nobody cared, and they're going to end up being a top 10 football team. They beat Utah by 14 in the Rose Bowl, 35-21. They went 11-2. Mm-hmm. Their 2 losses were to Michigan by 24 points and Ohio State by 13 points. Both those games were very tight at halftime. I recall they were both tight. Michigan pulled away in the second half. Ohio State pulled away in the fourth quarter against Penn State. However, Sip, Penn State won 10 of their 11 games by double digits. The one game they won that wasn't by double digits was that first game against Purdue on opening weekend.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Every other win was by 10 points or more. They had a phenomenal season.
Yeah.
That didn't land them in the top 10 when all is said and done, but nobody talked about them. So the concern I have is this. The question is, what did Penn State's quietly great season tell us about teams that don't make the playoffs?
Well, it tells me a couple things. That if this is to happen to your school where you're like Penn State, you win 11 games, and the 11th game is in the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy
the
of
Rose
all,
Bowl.
The Rose Bowl in front of I was reading a New York Times article. It said it was sold out. Now there's 94,000 people there. So it was big. The people went to it.
It looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, on TV it looked pretty full.
What it tells me is this. Is in this era of this is my take on it. In this era of college football, that win, you will celebrate that win within your fan base, and it'll be a joyous celebration, and you will feel good about it. But don't expect the rest of the country to fawn praise on you, because this is the playoff world now. If you are not in the playoff, you are not all that relevant. This is bad news for Nebraska. Because
I agree.
Because I mean, it could be construed as bad news for Nebraska, because I think that Nebraska fans, we are a flyover state, and we want all this attention from America, from the college football world. We're not going to get it. It's not going to be like it used to be. Even if Nebraska if you traded places this year with Penn State and went 11-2 and won the Rose Bowl, you're not going to get a lot of attention. Some people, and I know what you're going to say, everybody's going to say it. Oh, come on, Sip, it'd be a great story. Nebraska's back. Oh, I don't know. I don't know that we sound sort of self-important when we do that. Like, oh, everybody's paying attention. Were you paying attention to Penn State season?
No, it wasn't.
Not at all.
No, it wasn't.
Not at all. Enjoy it within your realm. Don't expect others to join in too much. That's what I'd say about it. I don't think Nebraska would be lavished with national praise in this current college football world if they went to the Rose Bowl and beat Utah. I don't.
I'm with you.
I don't.
That's it's a telling story right now,
right?
Isn't it?
Because you're not in the playoff. The playoff is the thing. When Alabama beat Kansas State, that didn't dominate any discussion whatsoever.
And it's not going to.
No,
it's done. It's passed.
That was the Sugar Bowl. I mean,
big bowl.
Yeah.
Only a huge bowl. It still is a big bowl,
Right.
but not the same.
So what the trick now, and it's not the trick, but enjoy it in your realm, in your fan base. Enjoy it and celebrate it. But don't expect a bunch of, and that's hard for Nebraska fans to hear this, because that's what we love. We're a flyover state.
Yep.
Sparsely populated. We don't get much attention. This would be our attention. Well, I'm here to tell you it's diminished now in this world. It's diminished.
Well, and
in this college football, the way college football is now, the current apparatus, you go win a bowl game, and I mean, even the Rose Bowl, it's sort of forgotten. Let alone going to the Citrus Bowl or, the Reliant Quest Bowl or whatever these things.
Is this?
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
Right. Is this why, though, you hear more fans say they want a 12-team playoff? So you don't have as many teams that just get lost in the shuffle because it's only about 4 right now.
No, yeah, I think that does. I think the 12-team. Yeah, I do think the 12-team playoff will help.
And I think
if you're in it,
and for somebody,
you're in it. But if you're not in it, it's even more exacerbated.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. You're just forgotten.
They expanded. You still didn't make it. Why do I care about you?
Why do I care?
10-3 Nebraska.
Exactly.
Which we celebrate. 10-3, great.
But will we celebrate it as much, knowing the rest of the nation could care less?
This is a good text.
Couldn't care less. Is it could care less or couldn't care? Couldn't care less.
Couldn't care less.
Couldn't care less.
Yeah. So someone brings up Tennessee and their attention. I think the difference between Tennessee and Penn State was this. Tennessee had the massive win. Tennessee beat Alabama when they were undefeated. Both teams were unbeaten, middle of the season. And so they got a lot of attention going forward beyond that.
Okay.
Now, Hendon Hooker gets hurt, so their season, they still win the Orange Bowl against Clemson. Nice win for Tennessee to end what was a great year. But would the attention have been so high on Tennessee without that epic win mid-season against Alabama? Because Penn State, again, wins 10 of their 11 games by double digits. But their marquee games, they lose to Michigan and Ohio State. And so they didn't have that mid-season buzz.
They were out of the college football playoff race by Halloween.
Right, and they still had a phenomenal season.
Phenomenal.
11-2.
That's after going 4-5 in 2020 and 7-6 in 2021.
Right, think about that. They were 7-6 last year.
And
we mocked Sean Clifford last season. He comes back with a great season this year.
I don't like the Tennessee example. I don't think Tennessee created national buzz.
They did.
No,
they did.
No.
Yes, they did.
Not with that win against Clemson.
No, against Alabama.
Yes. but not with the bowl.
Not the bowl. No, not the bowl game.
Bowl games are forgotten. Let's face it.
The Alabama. I'm saying that during the season, they had the same record. They both were 11-2, Tennessee and Penn State. But Tennessee had more buzz because of that win during the season against Alabama. Penn State never had the buzz, and they had a great year.
I agree. Now, on the bright side, the Rose Bowl again was the Rose Bowl was it had 94,000 people at it. It was the Penn State players were euphoric. The Penn State fan base was euphoric. Again, I think that I'll repeat it and then we'll get to our callers. Yes, enjoy it in your fan base, in your world, but the rest of the world doesn't care. Not even about the Rose Bowl.
You know what was crazy about that game? Good reminder. I mean, the story of the Rose Bowl was, oh my God, this is bleeding into Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
On ESPN.
Yeah.
It's like, get this game over with. Yeah. We got to watch Bills Bengals. Right. That was the conversation. Even what Herbstreit was saying on the airwaves.
This is what we wanted, and this is what we get. I mean, a lot of people are fine with it, and that's fine. I'm sort of lukewarm. I'm not going to say was. I am a bowl person. I love the bowl season, but diminished. To say any other, to size it up in any other way would be disingenuous. The bowl experience, the bowl season, the bowl phenomenon has been greatly diminished.
It has. And Penn State goes 11-2, and we just don't talk about it.
Not many people.
First time we're bringing it up right now.
They will talk about it in that world, in Pennsylvania, and in the Penn State fan.
But they want the national attention,
right?
And they're just under the radar as a top 10 team.
By the way, are we sure James Franklin isn't somebody that Michigan might look at?
Well, they might look at him. Is he looking at Michigan, though?
Well, he might have topped out at Penn State. He might need a new challenge.
Maybe. Let's get some calls at 402-464-5685. You can hear me. You're up on early break. Who do we have here? Go ahead.
Hey there. This is Chris.
Hey, Chris. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah. Well, great. Good show, guys. Great show. Consider that if Matt Rule's been here 3 years, and he hasn't made and the college football playoff starts in 2, right? The 12 teams.
2025. 2025.
Oh, 2025. Okay, well, he gets one more year. If he hasn't made maybe he only gets one. I don't know. But, if you don't make the college football playoff, you're going to be on the hot seat if you're a blue blood. I think if you've been someplace 3 or 4 years and you don't make a college football playoff every couple of seasons, you've got to be looked at closely. Because the bowl games, like you said, I mean, they're stupid. I mean, there's not going to even be a decent bowl game with the top 12 teams.
I know.
In the playoff, so the bowl games are just going to dwindle and die. They're just,
it seems
absolutely irrelevant and stupid. And he's made some of the goofiest hires I've ever seen in my life. Hello. So, but and I'm very hopeful that his Big 12 defense is going to, work in the Big 10. We've seen so much Big 12 stuff work in the Big 10 before. But and I hope his offensive line can protect whatever quarterback. But it's going to be a lot more pressure on coaches.
Yeah.
Than there already is.
Yes.
Because if you don't make it every couple of seasons, I mean, what are you doing?
Well,
all right. Thanks for the call, Chris.
Yes. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. And by the way, I did make a mistake. The playoff does start in 2024. I'm sorry.
2024. Yeah.
2024. But that's interesting. That's interesting what Chris said. As far as the blue bloods go, it does ratchet up the pressure on, especially with the 12 teams, on particularly the strong programs, the traditionally strong programs. If you don't make the playoff, what especially the 12-team playoff, there should be pressure on you. Now, I don't know how that applies to Nebraska right now because Nebraska has been down so long. But I hate to say it, but we have to talk about it. The bowl games have become extraneous with the 4-team playoff. Extraneous. Just something that's probably not even, God, I'm saying this, needed. It sucks to say it.
What'd you just say?
I don't even know if they're needed. I mean,
bowl games?
Well, when you go to 12 teams, I mean,
they're not going to get rid of bowl games, but you're right. It's going to feel even less important.
And see, that affects us profoundly in Nebraska because we don't see Nebraska as a right now, it's hard to imagine Nebraska as a consistent 12-team playoff member or 12-team playoff qualifier. We don't really. That's hard to imagine right now, right?
It is until you see some.
So what? So the goal for Nebraska will be make a bowl game that nobody cares about. It's sort of sad, right? It's just real talk, though. That's just real talk. I'm not going to paint it any other way. We're clamoring to get to bowl games that nobody really, not that many people care about. We'll care about it. The opposing team's fan base will care about it. But the world's not really watching anymore. It's not that fun anymore. It's not as fun as it used to be.
No.
When you played Georgia in the Citrus Bowl, when Nebraska beat Georgia in the Citrus Bowl and they beat the big running back
Todd Gurley,
and you felt a measure of pride because you thought, okay, well, a lot of the world maybe watch this for a little bit because it's Georgia and it's Nebraska. Now, yeah, there'll be some of that, but very little. I mean, you were vaguely aware that Illinois was playing in a bowl game.
You kind of forgot they were, and they lost
against NC State,
Mississippi State.
Yeah,
Mississippi State. Maryland played NC State.
Yeah, I mean, you would like to say in your former self that Maryland got a bowl win, but now it's like, did Maryland play in a bowl? Yeah, they won. Oh, wow.
All that is just a ledger on the win column for the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Other than that, did anybody watch the Duke's Mayo Bowl, which they were playing in?
No.
You said, come on, win for the conference.
I'm not saying, and we're not saying, I don't think you're saying that the level of intrigue is gone. It's just greatly diminished.
Yeah.
It's not gone.
We just go back to the main point is that we talk about Penn State wins 11 games. They win the Rose Bowl.
The Rose Bowl.
And it's just like, okay, let's go watch Monday Night Football now. The game's over. Hurry up. Hurry up and finish. And great season. We've moved on.
You sort of I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. You expressed surprise at the least and almost sort of mocked me when I told you I watched the Sugar Bowl. It's the Sugar Bowl. I watched it in its entirety.
Wasn't that a playoff game? What was the Sugar Bowl? Who played the Sugar Bowl?
Alabama, Kansas State.
Oh, sorry. That's right. Yeah.
Was that a playoff game?
Well, I was thinking that.
Turn in your sports radio card.
I was just trying to remember which ones were where the games are all played. I forget where all the bowl games are played.
That was a slip up.
It was a slip up. I was just trying. I know who was playing TCU and Michigan, Georgia, Ohio State.
Right.
I just forget which bowl games are which. I know they're playoff games. Thank you.
Fiesta and Peach.
I know who was playing. I don't know exactly where, what game it was because it's just playoff semifinals.
Fiesta Bowl was Michigan, TCU. Peach.
Thank you for the reminder there. I appreciate that. Because to me, it was just semifinal 1 and semifinal 2. Let's get to the championship.
Georgia basically had a home game in Atlanta.
And they almost lost. Yeah. Almost lost.
Do we have another call?
We have another phone call. If you can hear us, you're on early break. Who do we have here? Go ahead.
This is a call from Napa, California. Good morning.
Vince. It's Vince in Napa.
Vince, is this back-to-back days?
I believe so, if we're scoring.
Yes, we're scoring. What's on your mind, my friend?
Let's see. Well, before I get into the discussion, obviously, as you know, I have a personal reason for rooting for Georgia. And here's something I've thought about somewhere in the recesses of my mind as it relates to Napa, California's Brock Bowers. Now, Sip, you remember that? You remember that '80s song from Joan Jett, "I Love Rock and Roll"?
Of course, I remember that song. Yes.
Yes, indeed. Now, I'm only going to do like a couple of lines before I get on to the conversation. Here's something I thought about.
Okay.
As it pertains to Brock Bowers, how about this, Sip?
Okay.
I love rock and roll. Throw another pass to the tight end, baby. I love rock and roll. Throw another pass to the tight end, baby.
I love it. You're a genius.
Oh, there it is. Baby.
You are a lyrical genius. That is that guy. You got to go to the recesses of your mind more often.
Well, sometimes though it's in the recesses of my mind, it's how far down the barrel can you go.
No, that's a dangerous road.
You don't have to share everything. Barrel. Yeah, you don't have to share everything. Just share when something like that goes into it.
Oh boy. Okay, as we get this vehicle back on the road here, as far as how it pertains to the regular conversation, the regular conversation at hand. And I couldn't agree more. I think the playoff world has I think the playoff world has definitely diminished interest in the traditional bowl games, and I think, I mean, maybe not as much to people of our generation, but I think to the younger crowd, it's definitely going to continue to do that. The more that and I think even as the playoffs expand, but as far as being interested in bowl games that very few people care about, I mean, yes, that's exactly where we're at. But I think part of that is because we're so beaten down as a fan base. We're just so starved for anything. You know what, Sip? It's Jake. It's kind of like this, okay? When you've been out in the desert for so long, at some point you're going to eat the sand.
Desperate times.
Yeah. Interesting.
It is. It is very much so, and because now my former self would have, watched bowl games religiously, and now I'm not a cheer for the conference guy, but I would have done it. I would have watched the other games just kind of out of curiosity, but but again, that's definitely where we continue to be at as a fan base, and as far as whether it generates buzz. Now let's say hypothetically Nebraska not just gets back to a bowl game, but let's say it gets back to a bowl game of significance, whether it's the Sugar or whether it's the Rose or whatever. And let's say we go 10-2. Now, if it comes out, I mean, I think it'll generate some interest initially because some old heads will be like, "Oh, Nebraska was great at one time. They've been down for a while. Now they're back." But if it happens for consecutive years down the line without a playoff appearance, then that's where it's going to really get lost in the shuffle. Like, okay, fine, they're 10-2, but it doesn't mean what it once did. But you know what, though, fellas?
Oh, what? Yeah, what?
At this point, I don't care how many people don't care or don't care when we get back to winning, whether that means bowl eligibility or
playoff
or one of the New Year's Six without a playoff. You know what? I don't care. I really don't care because you want to know something? I want a team that takes the field for 13 games a year, 14, however many it is. I want a team that takes the field and they look across the line of scrimmage and they say, if we can't get along, we might as well get it out.
Thank you, Vince. 13, maybe 14 games a year. I love Brock and roll. Throw another pass to the TD, baby.
Tight end.
You say tight end?
Tight end. Brock Bowers is a tight end.
Oh, yeah. I love Brock and roll. Throw another pass to the tight end, baby.
Brock Bowers is a very talented.
Maybe the Niners should use a song for Brock Purdy. Same one, the different second part. I love Brock and roll.
Yeah. Throw another touchdown pass. How would you do that? How would be the second part? I need to come up with something quickly.
I don't have it. I'm not going to. Just saying the Niners should do that. Yeah. Fan base should, if they're going to use it for Brock Bowers and use it for Brock Purdy too.
Yeah. I love Brock and roll. Coming from the deep recesses of Vince's mind and
scary place to be.
Not always.
Today it wasn't scary.
Sometimes it produces genius.
Yes.
You don't have to share everything. I would not want to know everything in the deep recesses of your mind.
Please, no,
I know way.
Stay away from that part.
I know way too much already.
Not safe for NSFW. When we come back, I want to address an email we got.
NSFW, is that a thing?
Yeah, and if you ever see that on Twitter, NSFW, not safe for work.
Much of your existence is NSFW.
I'm going to address an email early break listener next on Early Break in the Signal.
People first is more than a nice sentiment. At American Senior Benefits, it's the mission. If you're ready for a career where you can truly put needs ahead of everything else, this is for you. American Senior Benefits is one of the leading senior market insurance product distributors in the country, and they're looking for high-energy applicants with strong communication skills. Enjoy on-the-job training, a fun work environment, and unlimited income potential. Visit asbmidwest.com to learn more. American Senior Benefits.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric opportunities for you or someone you know. They are now hiring plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive and full benefits packages that include health, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is searching for technicians of all skill levels to grow with us. Landmark offers a competitive wage, full benefits package with 100% paid employee health insurance, paid time off, paid parental and bereavement leave, an annual recreation bonus, and a boot and clothing allowance. Landmark offers the latest certified John Deere training, so you're up to date with the newest equipment and technology. Interested in becoming a part of the Landmark now at landmark.careers? Landmark Implement is an equal opportunity employer.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93 every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. Awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money against sports at 48th and Vine.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Mike Schaefer here for Trek CBD. It's football season, and that means you're tailgating with friends, or if you're like me, yelling at the TV during Vikings games. Trek CBD has a variety of products that help calm me down during the games, so don't scare my dog. But in the rare cases that I yell too much, there's CBD products for him too, and all other pets. Whether you're looking for drinkable Delta 8 seltzers, Delta 9 syrups for your beverages, or anything else, Trek CBD has it all at 84th and Anderson. Trek CBD done right.
My name is Rebecca. I struggled with depression for years. I also smoked. That was my world. Finally, I realized that smoking wasn't helping me. It was making my life worse. So I took control and I quit. Now I'm able to run again and take walks with my grandkids. My tip is there's another world out there, and it's a beautiful place to be.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit line. 1-800-QUIT-NOW. 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Anybody who knows me knows I was cocky out of the womb.
Is Early Break with Sip and Jake, brought to you by Gaina Trucking. Weekday mornings from 6 to 8 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, now I'm really concerned about something here. Opened the show today talking about you lodging cough drops in your mouth before you go to sleep. Yep. Did last night. I said, that's weird. I got a text from my own father this morning.
Yeah.
Who's listening to the show.
Yes.
Says this, text. My own dad says, I sleep with cough drops when I have a sore throat. FYI, or a throat lozenges. So what I thought was
61
years old.
Your dad.
How do I have a response for that? You know, I just shot this down. My own dad does this.
Yeah.
I call
so
it
are you
crazy.
taking the L?
I guess so.
You've taken
Maybe
two
you guys are
big
both
L's.
crazy. I don't know.
No, you're taking.
You're not going to see me ever sleep with a cough drop. Ever.
Don't ever say. Don't
ever.
Never say never.
No, ever.
There are things that
I
you
will
will
take
say.
Mucinex or NyQuil or whatever it takes to soothe the throat. That's medicine.
There are things. Trust me, and your dad will verify this. There are things like that you say as a 31-year-old that evolve over time, and then when you're 56 or 61, you change.
Is that right? Is that how this goes?
Yes. That's interesting that your dad said that.
I'm
think
shocked
that,
right now.
and I'm glad he did, because I do think that signifies an L. You've taken 2 L's in the last few weeks, big ones.
Well, it's a pretty good
Big
ratio.
ones.
2 in the last few weeks is pretty good.
I bet they're big ones. They're defining.
Reading glasses.
L's. They're defining L's. They won't soon be forgotten. They will define you over time. The reading glasses one was absurd. I mean,
well, you know what? Yesterday, speaking of reading glasses, real quick.
Okay.
I was at a client's office. Okay. Yesterday, and he was making fun of his own reading glasses, and I said, "Why?" I said, "Okay, they have. If you're watching the stream, they have normal frames like I have, right? These are normal glasses frames. But tell me, Sip. Okay, yeah, you got readers right there.
These are women's readers. But go ahead.
Well, his had like the smallest part of the bottom of the frame is all he could use for like reading. The rest of it was like not usable. It was like this bottom part. He could barely see anything.
I don't get that.
So he's trying to read his email. He's like,
"Yeah, I don't get."
I said,
that.
"What's the point of that?
Yeah, nobody.
What's the point of having this entire?" I'm mad at him. I'm mad at the glasses maker.
Yeah, nobody buys those.
Why is my phone's my watch is talking to me?
NSW.
NSFW. NSFW. Not safe for work.
Right. NS.
You learned a new acronym today.
NS. Not safe. FW for work.
Got it?
Hey. Ask the question of our listeners.
Yes. All right. Before we get to Rick Heyman's song of the day next segment, I want to read this email from John in Minnesota. Okay.
Thank you,
He
John.
emailed early break. You can do the same. If you want a topic, if you have an idea, early break 937@gmail.com. Okay. John in Minnesota says this. Hey, Jake, idea for a conversation. What should the starting expectation be of a high school recruit in today's football transfer era? Would you rather recruit a high school player you develop for 4 years who is guaranteed to be a 1-year starter as a senior, or play the lottery with another recruit as a transfer that may start more or never start? If you'd opt for the latter, what's the number of starts that becomes your over-under of a successful high school recruit?
Ask the second part again.
Okay.
Second part. Just second part. What's the over-under?
If you'd opt for the latter in terms of the lottery here, the transfer here.
Okay.
What's the number of starts that becomes your over-under for a successful high school recruit?
I don't know. I think what we try to do in a conversation like this is try to make it an either or when it's almost impossible to do that in football. What I read the question on the rundown last night, and my mind just automatically goes to you just have to have a mix. You have to have a mix of those sorts of players.
At what point will the mix become more skewed heavily toward transfers compared to high school players? Will that ever happen?
Well, it depends on your coaches. I mean, there's a lot of factors in football. This is why I always say about football, it's hard. It's very difficult, if not impossible, to make these sweeping generalizations about football teams because football rosters evolve. Coaches, you change coaches so often in college football, and different coaches have different philosophies about questions like this.
Mm-hmm.
It comes down to need generally, and because rosters evolve, you might assess this question differently in one season than you would 3 seasons later. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Nebraska last year took 16 players from the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to take 16 this year, but they might take 10. They've taken 7 so far. They might go to 10 or 11. Those are big numbers. You're not always going to do that, though. You're not always going to do that. It depends on roster need. It depends on where your program's at. 16 last year is a high number. That's a high number. That's one of the highest in the country. Okay. You're not going to do that every year. Some years you're going to take 5 from the portal. And I hope I'm answering the question to a certain extent. It varies depending on need, depending on where your program is at.
We say that right now. I'm curious 5 years down the road, whether it's Matt Rule or not, just in terms of where the college game is going. If 16 is a high number, if that is an uncommon amount of transfers you take in a year versus high school kids. I mean, I think it's a very, very interesting time to be a high school football player, and interesting in a bad way.
Yeah, because
you
could get passed over.
You could get passed over. I mean,
there's a greater likelihood that you're going to get passed.
This is great news for the FCS schools and the lower FBS schools because, hey, they might want to use the portal too, but the Power 5 teams are going to be the ones that are plucking players away from the smaller rosters or taking them from other schools that just don't want they don't want to be there anymore. It's great for the smaller schools. This for the high school players. It's great for those schools that they might get more high school kids going there
to like the North Dakota State.
Right, exactly. They get stronger. Mm-hmm. They get even better. They can push teams even harder than they already are right now.
Where the big programs are just plucking players off each other's roster. USC, by the way, added 19 players last year, 19 from the portal to this year's team. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
19. They went 4-8 in 2021. They whipped it around to 11-3, largely with help from the portal. Did the Trojans.
Yes.
19 additions. Okay, USC 19 additions. LSU, Jake. Okay, now these are examples of the portal paying off at a high level, right? USC, 19 portal players added last year.
Nearly a playoff team.
Right. LSU adds 18 to this year's roster. Goes from 6-7 to 10-4. Success story.
Pretty good year for Brian Kelly, first year.
Ole Miss, Lane, adds 17. Now they went from 10-3 to 8-5. They went from 10-3 in 2021 to 8-5 this year.
Ask this though: if you talked to Lane Kiffin or Brian Kelly, would you ask them, "Hey, was this a high number for you, or is this the norm going forward?" What would they say?
They would tell you what I just said. It is dependent on need, where our roster is at that certain point. Think about what Frost did. Why did Frost do it? Well, Frost was trying to save his job.
Yes.
And he said the words, we're going to try to get this program over the top through the transfer portal. Now, Nick Saban's not going to say that probably, right? I mean, they don't have to. They might at some point, but they don't have to right now. Georgia Tech added 17 players as Jeff Collins tried to save his job after going 3-9 in 2021. Now they went 5-7. He lost his job. It didn't work. Nebraska added 16. It didn't really pay off, right? Texas Tech added 16 from 2021 to 2022. Got an extra win, went from 7-6 to 8-5. Those are the big ones right there. Now, again, Jake, it's just need. You always do. I think you've done this thing in the past where you've said, is Nebraska just going to be a transfer portal team? The clear answer is when they need to be. When they need to be.
I'd like to see if Lane Kiffin stays at Ole Miss. I'd like to see his classes the next 5 years and see if they approach 17 players again the transfer portal.
My guess is it'll be dependent on what their roster situation is at that time.
Possibly so. Thank you for the question, John in Minnesota. Thank you for emailing.
I don't think we really answered it.
That's okay.
It was a provocative question.
It was.
Thank you.
When we come back, we'll have Rick Heyman's Song of the Day on Early Break on the Ticket.
Look at your car. It's filthy and probably has a few dings and nicks all over it. Don't be that guy. Repair at Renew Your Auto. At Renew Your Auto, they offer tons of ceramic coating, window tinting, paintless dent repair, washes and details, cleaners, body shop, and more. Where can you services like that all in one place? Schedule your appointment today at renewyourauto.com. See what Renew can do for you.
Acres, your John Deere dealer, is offering blowout savings on in-stock 2022 compact tractors and mowers. Make quick work of chores around your acreage and save over $4,000 on select John Deere compact tractors equipped with a loader and rear blade. Or save up to $1,000 on select 2022 John Deere Z-Trax and lawn tractors. Visit your local Acres store or acres.com to get these great discounts. Acres, solutions for everyone. Discounts available on in-stock units.
Life-changing research doesn't just take place in outer space. It's also happening right here in Nebraska, and you could play a key role. Solarion, one of the world's leading clinical research organizations, needs healthy adults who are 19 years old and older for a research opportunity. If you qualify, you could earn up to $500 a day for time and travel. Overnight stays may be required. To learn more, call Solarion at 866-213-2965 or visit helpresearch.com/500.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
The Empire brand is growing with ESC Fabric and Sandblasting. ESC is your place for custom handrails, industrial and commercial painting, and more. ESC provides custom welding for aluminum and stainless steel and media blasting of all sorts. Great attention to detail. They stick to deadlines and keep within your budget. If you can dream it, they can make it. Contact ESC Fabrication and Sandblasting in Waverly today at 531-207-9329.
Bagels & Co. is celebrating 30 years of business this year. With 4 Lincoln locations, there's more options for your favorite fist spot in town. And don't forget for unlimited drip coffee for just $8.95 per person per month. Bagels & Joe, celebrating 30 years of serving Lincoln and the surrounding areas.
My name is Rebecca. I struggled with depression for years. I also smoked. That was my world. Finally, I realized that smoking wasn't helping me. It was making my life worse. So I took control and I quit. Now I'm able to run again and take walks with my grandkids. My tip is there's another world out there, and it's a beautiful place to be.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric is the call I make when I have a need for plumbing services. Whether it's for my home or office, if I need a repair to a water heater, softener, or even my garbage disposal, I know I can count on Action to help. In one simple call, our amazing service promptly schedules a service call, often getting to my needs within a day. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
Herrick Services takes this time to wish everyone a happy things from 2022 and hope that 2023 brings prosperity in your life. This important message comes to you from Bart, Mike, and the folks at Herrick Services, your vending specialists here in Lincoln. Their quality service and expertise has earned them a fine reputation. That's Herrick Services, on the air because they care.
Steve's Garage Doors and Services is under new management, but has the same great service as before. If your current garage door seems outdated or isn't working properly, call their new number at 402-480-2840 to schedule service or get a new door ordered. Steve's can repair most types of garage doors and can always point you in the right direction to get the job done. Give Steve's Garage Doors and Services a call today at 402-480-2840. That's 402-480-2840.
Move over, Jake.
I'm moving. Jeez.
Thursdays are reserved for a man with a wider range of music knowledge than Jake could ever dream of.
This is the golden era. You would hear this on any radio station. You know, it wasn't like it is now.
Okay.
You know, you got country, you got R&B, you got pop, you got rap, you got rock. They didn't have that then. You heard everything.
And who knows a good song when he just as much as a good diamond when he sees it.
You get a diamond.
Yes, I do get a diamond. I get a diamond, and that makes me happy.
It's time for Rick Heyman's Song of the Day, sponsored by Sartor Heyman Jewelers on Early Break on 93 The Ticket.
And if it's bad, don't let it get you down. You can take it. And if it hurts, don't let them see you cry. You can make it. Hold your head up. Hold your head up. Hold your head up. Hold your head high. Hold your head up. Hold your head up. Hold your head up. Hold your head high.
Song of the day, Hold Your Head Up by Argent. 464-56851 is bad. 10 is good. Text you ready on Rick Heyman's Sartor Heyman Jewelers Song of the Day.
If they stare, just let them burn their eyes on you moving. shine. Don't let it change a thing that you do. Hold your head up. Hold your head up. Hold your head up. Hold your head high.
Song of the day again, Hold Your Head Up by Argent. 464-5685. 1 is bad. 10 is good. Texture rating on Rick Heyman, Sauter Heyman Jewelers Song of the Day.
Classic, beautiful.
How can you dislike that song?
They can't.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it was almost kind of, I don't know, same sort of effect on me that your playing Tambourine Man had.
By the Byrds.
The Byrds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that song is a classic. I've heard it dozens of times. I would never turn it off the radio, and I will give that a 9.0.
I will give it a 9.1 because I want to be ahead of you. I like that song. It's not often I rate a
That
song
was obnoxious,
higher
by
than
the
you.
way.
Usually I'm almost every time I go lower than you, but today I want to be at 9.1. So I am. We're now joined by Rick Heyman, Sauter Heyman Jewelers. Rick, good morning. Great song today.
Well, Happy New Year, Jen. Hold your head up, Sip, with that cough drop there at night.
You got to be careful.
Lest I choke. Hey, Rick, great to hear from you. Great to hear you, and great song.
Thank you. How we know that it's dark, depressing winter, January in Nebraska. Did I mention dark and depressing? We spent the first 15 minutes on cough drop.
Yeah. Hey, Rick, the people had takes. The people had thoughts here on cough drops.
I am nothing if not dark and depressing.
All right, guys. Well, by the way, I hear from people, guys, all over the country. It's amazing that listen to this show.
Yeah.
And a buddy of mine, my old roommate, Barry Pelton out in Louisville, Kentucky, texted me a couple days ago and mentioned that he listens to the show and he wants me to play a certain band, which is coming.
Okay.
So shout out to Barry, great guy.
In Kentucky.
One of our former jewelers, Sauter Heyman, went on to become a chiropractor, very successful out in Kentucky. So Argent, founded in 1969 by Rod Argent, formerly of the Zombies.
Whoa!
Now they actually had 3 hits, but this was the only one that really made an impact. Although we'll discuss a couple here in a minute. But the Zombies. Okay, so Argent was forming this band just as the Zombies single "Time of the Season" was becoming a worldwide hit in 1969.
Right. Jake's song.
We like the Zombies.
Now, we know that song.
Yes.
He wanted his new band to become part of the burgeoning progressive rock scene, which at the time was emerging. This album also included the song "Liar," which was then subsequently recorded by Three Dog Night, which is one of my all-time favorite songs. Now, we're not going to cover a lot about Rod Argent. However, the keyboard player in this band was Russ Ballard. And Russ Ballard went on to a stellar career. He wrote "Liar." He wrote "Since You've Been Gone" by Rainbow. He wrote a couple heady songs. Now, here's a song that he also wrote, "Winning" by Santana.
Whoa.
Yeah, we love that song, too.
Yeah. Friend
which
of the
we've
show.
actually played on this. He also wrote and produced "You Can Do Magic" by America.
Love that song, too. Another great song.
Jake loves that
Oh,
song.
I haven't seen that one for a long time, have I?
Yeah, he wrote ABBA's singer Annie Lingstad's solo hit "I Know There's Something Going On," which is also a huge hit. He also wrote, let's see here, "God Gave Rock and Roll to You," which Kiss played in the movie Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, or whatever the heck that is.
Okay.
He also wrote a bunch of songs for Roger Daltrey, including "Free Me" and the soundtrack of the movie McVicker. A lot of people don't remember that, but
Yeah.
That was actually a fabulous record.
Okay.
So anyway, just amazing career. Rod Argent and Russ Ballard. So here's some Stump the Sipper since
Okay,
we spent
boy.
all our time on cough drops today.
Happens.
What instrument did Rod Argent play?
Okay. Well, let's do this.
A lot of choices there.
Yeah. What instrument did Rod Argent play? Keyboard. He was
You
a
can
keyboard.
hear it.
He was a keyboardist.
You can hear it in every song.
Keyboardist.
You get a partial diamond. It was a Hammond B3 organ, my favorite instrument of all times.
I'll give you a
So give him the ring.
partial
Give him the
diamond,
ring.
yeah.
Okay.
No, let's just give me a diamond on that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, give him a diamond and a
Okay.
ring.
Okay.
The Zombies' Time of the Season was a worldwide hit in 1968, 1969, or 1970.
One of those. I'm going to say 69.
2 diamonds.
Look at this guy.
Thank
Heater
you.
over here.
Thank you. Heater. Yeah.
And is Russ Ballard from the United States, England, or Australia?
Oh, he's from England. He's an Englishman.
3 diamonds today.
going
You
on?
are blinging it, baby.
We're starting off the new year right here.
Bling, bling, bling,
Bling,
bling.
bling. Well, Rick, what's going on right now at Sauter Heyman Jewelers in the new year?
Hey, our Heartland diamonds are back. They're bigger than ever. They are patented. They are exclusive to Sauter Heyman. You got to come in and see these. They're 100% natural diamonds with 89 facets on them, and each one of them has a light performance certification, guaranteed the most brilliant diamonds you've ever seen. Hey, Sauter Heyman's been #1 best of Nebraska for over 30 years for a reason. Trust, quality, selection, value. If you can't get it here, you don't want it. Come see us at Sauter Heyman in Lincoln and Grand Island, sauterheyman.com, and I'll post more interesting related information about Argent and Russ Ballard on my personal Facebook at Rick Heyman.
Rick, always great stuff.
Great
Thanks for the time. We'll chat with you again next week.
That was great.
Happy New Year, and bye-bye.
All right, Rick Heyman, Sauter Heyman Jewelers. Good stuff there. Argent, hold your head up. The
That
song
was
of the
great.
day. And now Mike Schaefer's up next. I see him. He's here.
This is a party.
Full hour next of Mike Schaefer, an early break in the ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Kid.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is searching for technicians of all skill levels to grow with us. Landmark offers a competitive wage, full benefits package with 100% paid employee health insurance, paid time off, paid parental and bereavement leave, an annual recreation bonus, and a month. Landmark offers the latest certified John Deere training, so you're up to date with the newest equipment and technology. Interested in becoming a part of the Landmark difference? Apply now at landmark.careers. Landmark Implement is an equal opportunity employer.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Life-changing research doesn't just take place in outer space. It's also happening right here in Nebraska, and you could play a key role. Solarion, one of the world's leading clinical research organizations, needs healthy adults who are 19 years old and older for a research opportunity. If you qualify, you get $500 a day for time and travel. Overnight stays may be required. To learn more, call Solarion at 866-213-2965 or visit help.com/500.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric brings exciting career opportunities for you or someone you know. They now hiring plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive pay and full benefits packages that include health, dental, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive team environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
Bagels and Joe is celebrating 30 years of business this year. With 4 in location, 1 in Seward, there's more options for your favorite breakfast spot in town. And don't forget the Joe card for unlimited drip coffee for just $8.95 per person per month. Bagels and Joe celebrate 30 years of serving Lincoln and the surrounding areas.
The Empire brand is growing with ESC Fabrication and Sandblasting. ESC is your place for custom handrails, industrial and commercial painting, and more. ESC provides custom welding for aluminum and stainless steel and media blasting ovens. ESC is great attention to detail. They stick to deadlines and keep within your budget. If you can dream it, they can make it. Contact ESC Fabrication and Sandblasting and wait 317-329.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
You're looking at a few clouds this morning. We'll give way to afternoon sunshine. We'll see a high at around 35. Tonight, mostly clear and calm conditions expected. We'll see a low of around 18. And tomorrow, more sunny. We'll see a high of around 40. I'm meteorologist Kyle Tucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Up, Lincoln.
Come on, it's 6 o'clock. Rise and shine, rise and shine.
It's time for Early Break with Sip and G by Trucking. Live from the Koppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. Here's 93.7 The Ticket's Jake Sorensen.
Did seem kind of meh.
And Steve Spall.
Surprisingly good.
This is Early Break with Sip and Jake. Sponsored by Gaina Trucking.
Welcome back to Hour 2 on a Thursday. Steve Sipple, Jake Sorensen, Early Break. The show is sponsored by Gaina Trucking. You can always watch and comment on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter. And call and text 464-5685. We are joined now for the 7 o'clock hour on Thursdays, as always, by our good friend, Mike Schaefer, 24/7 Sports. Schaefer, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
And we have a lot to talk about with Schaefer.
It is good to see you guys as well.
It is. We have a lot to talk about, too. And by the way, Schaefer called TCU beat Michigan on a text to me on Saturday. He said TCU will upset Michigan.
I looked at my bowl pool. I picked TCU also. So
yeah,
do I get?
I knew he was going to diminish it. I knew he was going to diminish it.
That's fine. Look, it's fine.
I did it though.
If we want to get into the bowl pool thing, I spent 2 minutes filling one out for 24/7 Sports.
Yeah.
And I'm like 28-15.
Dang, Schaefer.
And if I could have
winning.
just, done that in the actual gambling that I had done, this fall.
The key is to take less time. Just think less. Think less.
It's so obnoxious to me. Like I'm in this other pool that's like a all fall, and you have to pick 6 games a week, and was rolling along, and then I had like one bad week, and I just went on tilt ever since. And then over here in this pool that I spent 2 minutes on, I'm in like the top less than a percentage of the entire thing, and I put no effort into it whatsoever, but nailed such things as Tulane and
did you?
I had Tulane also, and
I mean, a lot of it is you're just going with the spread, and most of my strategy with the bowl games is basically just take the points because we don't know who's playing, we don't know who's really putting the effort in, all of that kind of thing.
Yeah,
we don't know who's transfers or leaving days before the game happens, or any of that. Like If you want gambling advice for the next bowl season, always consider taking the points.
It all contributes. That spiel just sort of added to what we established in the 6 o'clock hour about bowls. That they're still relevant, and they're still kind of pay attention. Just been reduced. The excitement for them, the importance has been reduced greatly, and it's interesting to me. Because Nebraska, at Nebraska, we clamor to get to a bowl game where much of the nation is not going to care if Nebraska gets to a bowl game.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about Penn State winning the Rose Bowl. Penn State going 11-2 and the world basically ignoring Penn State.
The quietest 11-2 maybe ever.
But this is what we said, is that what you got to do now is just enjoy it in your world, in our world. Just enjoy it in your world and understand that the rest of the world is really not paying much attention to you if you're not in the playoff, right?
Yeah, well, and I think that was largely true even, under the BCS and everything else too. What I've been telling myself,
largely true, but largely more true now.
And what I've been telling myself is that some of this is fun for me now because in a couple years, these are actually going to be playoff games. It's like that 11-2 Penn State team would still be playing.
I think so, yeah.
That Tulane team, in theory, if it gets like one of the last couple spots, is at least playing for something bigger than, and for them, that game meant everything. And that's why that Cotton Bowl, especially when you have the current Heisman winner playing in it.
Good point.
Like that was of any game that wasn't the big two in the college football playoff. That one felt like there was something there because you have the Heisman winner going against a group of 5 school.
Yeah.
And one with, Willie Fritz, that anybody that's followed college football for a little while, like that guy's popped up somehow in your world. So I was very happy for him. That was fun. But
yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. I was glad. I mean, we had 2 just getting one of those games would be great for often boring semifinal matchups. Not matchups, but games. Getting both of those games on Saturday was just fantastic.
It was.
Yeah, typically
it's just a great day.
It's usually a blowout. One of them's bad, one of them's good.
wasn't
Both
good,
games are
yeah.
great.
It
Both
wasn't
games are
good.
close.
Well, and I think we both thought that the blowout would be Georgia and Ohio State. And I'm still relatively surprised that not only did Ohio State keep that close, I mean, in theory, they probably should have won.
They led pretty much the whole game.
So I really, a ton of respect that they were able to kind of put Georgia in that position. I'm not remotely surprised that TCU beat Michigan.
No, you picked it.
I'm surprised in the way that the game played out, that it became such a track meet, and then very obvious that Michigan had no answers for whatever TCU wanted to do offensively. But it was just a lot of fun. And then, you're sitting there thinking that the next day or on Monday, when a lot of people just have the day off and they're playing that Cotton Bowl. This game, like in future years, you're going to have more of those college football playoff games.
Right.
And more of those games means probably a little bit more parity in terms of matchups and more entertainment and games that come down to the wire.
But if you're not in it, if you're not in the 12 team, the bowl, the lessening of the bowls is even more profound then.
Probably.
I mean, that's just the way it is. But you're right though about the
what
12
it
team.
does to me is it makes and I've said this in the past and people get mad, and it's true because every game counts whether we want it to or not. But those other bowl games just feel more and more like exhibitions.
Yeah, they do.
Or more and more like, okay, well, here's your opportunity to check out these redshirt freshmen, or that quarterback that you weren't planning on playing. You're going to play him now because your quarterback's in the portal, and you can at least get eyes on him. And so in some ways,
absolutely,
in the results, like Iowa beats Kentucky 21-0. I'm just using this as an example, not to take away from it so much. Doesn't ultimately say anything about either of those teams for me. When Will Levis isn't playing,
no, it doesn't.
When Cade McNamara is going to be Iowa's next quarterback, and their offense is going to look different, and they don't have Arlen Brutes or Keegan Johnson or any
Eric
of that.
All.
So,
they're bringing in
the
Eric.
result. Absolutely happened. What I take from it is very minimal.
I know, but see, I don't know if I regard it as sadness, but we have to face reality. Nebraska's in a situation where we're not thinking Nebraska is going to be a annual playoff participant now. But you're hoping they get to a bowl. At the same time, we're talking about bowls that really, who cares?
Isn't
So it's a metric though. It's a metric for Nebraska.
Thank you. Thank you. That's good.
It might not matter, but it's like we at least achieved
Still a
this.
metric.
We got to
Sure.
this.
Just a metric.
How do we measure the season?
Thank you, Jay.
I would argue
that's a good way to look at
that what we've seen in college football this year should make Nebraska fans feel more comfortable than ever that there's a pathway to Nebraska being one of those 12 teams.
Because what are you talking about?
Kansas State is a great example. Nebraska can have that kind of season. Like the TCU season is harder for me to imagine, but I look at that and how it was put together. And I think if they can do that, Nebraska can do that.
Tulane.
If Tulane can do that, Nebraska can do that.
Who else?
Because
USC.
Tennessee.
Again,
USC.
Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean they can easily have
You know
that
what?
kind of year.
Penn State is that.
Right.
I mean, they were 4-5 2 years ago, 7-6 last year, 11-2 this year.
Now, is Nebraska going to be Georgia anytime soon? No, they're not.
No, they're not.
But they can be these other teams, and those other teams in 2 years are going to be exponentially more relevant. Like, I don't know that we're prepared for what it's going to be like when we're having serious discussions about the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 teams in that college football
But that's a
playoff.
good discussion.
Because think about how we talk about the NFL. Like, there's a lot of excitement about the Lions and the Packers playing.
Yes, there is.
2 8-8 teams because it's a playoff spot. And it's either really cool because it's the Lions who never make the playoffs, and obviously things have to happen for them to get in, or the Packers have reversed their season and they've made it in, and now they're a dangerous 7 seed. And then on the other side, you have all the well, can Kenny Pickett get the Steelers and Mike Tomlin over 500 again?
Yeah.
Can they sneak in again? Can the Dolphins, like,
Now
we're
you're
already
gonna have that.
doing it in the NFL. They expanded from 6 to 7.
They did.
And mentally, like, as analysts, as media people, we're already jumping into that mold. That's what it's going to be like with
That's
the college
good,
football
right?
playoff. That's good, I think, for the sport because that means more teams matter. That means that buzz about that
Totally
team
agree.
matters.
Totally
it makes it easier when it, Kansas State's liftoff point. Like, yes, they lost Alabama. That end of the second quarter is going to haunt Kansas State a little bit with how that went. But that season matters even more when that's a college football playoff game.
It does. You're right. And it's hard for me because you're the proponent of the 12-team playoff. Why?
Well, we have not been. And the reason we have not been in the past we said 4 teams is enough is because we thought it'd be blowouts if you expand it. Now, Tulane beating USC is a good example of, hey, don't count little guy out all the time.
You're right.
How would
But-
Tulane
but,
do against Georgia
but
and
on
Michigan,
the other
though,
side,
those
and I
teams?
think Schaefer would back me on this because you watched the Sugar Bowl, which you didn't. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying you didn't. There was a big discrepancy between Alabama and Kansas State. If Kansas State's a 12 seed or a low seed, and
Yeah, but there was also a first half where if the second quarter goes slightly different, Kansas State makes that game look different.
I disagree. I just think
you don't think if they score
I
at the end of a 8-minute drive,
Maybe
or if they don't take that
temporarily-
timeout,
temporarily, but I just thought
the result probably is the same.
Right. Temporarily, I just thought it became clear in the second quarter.
But having
Kleiman was making, hey, you would agree with this shit. Kleiman was doing things out of character because why?
Well,
Because
they
he
had
knew they had no shot.
Well, they had a
Unless
weird,
they-
they had a weird quarterback situation at the end of like what
No,
you're
no,
trying
no.
to do there.
It wasn't about that. It was about the talent discrepancy, which
Well,
was
yeah,
enormous.
they have to try to. They're trying to coach to win a game. Like this is a Trey
Absolutely.
Palmer Purdue thing all over again. Like you have to coach to a certain way if your team, like Nebraska, didn't have the ability to sustain drive. So we talked about this after that Purdue game. It became very apparent they had to take shots to try to stay in that game.
Okay, yeah.
So that's what I'm getting. Like,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that what they normally would have done?
No.
No.
It was even more profound though with Kleiman. I mean,
Well-
he's kicking an onside kick to start the second half. I mean, come on, that's just that's desperate.
Kitchen sink.
Yeah, kitchen sink. Because
Now-
he knew there's no way we can just match up and play them straight up. We're gonna have to do weird stuff.
If it happens in like
Right.
if that happens in a 5 versus 12, or I don't know how the seedings all work
Mm-hmm.
with a 12 team playoff exactly, but like if that happens with a 5 versus 12, okay, whatever. That's already happening 1 versus 4, 3 out of 4 years.
That's true.
So I
Oh,
can't
I'm
get
not-
too upset about that.
I'm not upset about it. I just think we have to. I'm not upset about it. I
Yeah.
think that there's gonna be some of that though. It's
Yeah.
not always gonna be that.
Yeah.
But there's gonna be some of that.
And I think more teams getting in will level the field a little bit, as you see in basketball, where you suddenly have deeper seeds capable of winning because just getting to the tournament becomes a thing. And then, it's going to be that way with the college football
I mean,
playoff.
TCU. I guess now that we're having this discussion, I'm still a little bit amazed that Kansas State beat TCU for the Big
Well, they're
12 title.
physical
You
team.
shouldn't be, though.
That was a great
I'm
football game.
amazed by
Because that first game, Kansas State was up 28-3.
And
then Will Howard went
yeah,
out.
they had to go with a third string quarterback because Adrian couldn't play. Howard got hurt.
Like Kansas State
on the road in
if,
TCU.
If you hadn't watched Kansas State other than that Alabama game, it'd be probably hard to figure out what
I saw them against Missouri.
What they're particularly good at. And they just have like a bunch of different good college football players.
They're
like
tough.
guys that aren't probably going to be Sunday guys necessarily, but are just good players. I think that they make teams earn a lot of things. I think they can play in a variety of ways.
You know what though was profound to me. You know what was amazing? Well, I know we're really going in the weeds here, but Cade Warner, you watched the game, Jake. We'll tell you because you didn't watch it. Cade Warner is Kansas State's go-to guy on third down.
Yeah, I was not prepared
against Kool-Aid McKinstry.
He had a pretty good season.
I mean, Alabama has a cornerback is going to be probably a first rounder.
Right.
It's Cade Warner versus that corner.
That team
and
won
he did
the
all
conference.
right at times.
Yeah, that team won the conference. They
I
won
had
the
some
Big 12.
critical pickups in the first half on third down to keep that long
Cade
drive
did.
alive.
Yeah, Warner.
He had a pretty solid year.
I know he
at
did.
Kansas State.
But on the other hand, I'm using that to illustrate. Come on, it's Cade Warner versus Alabama's best corner. I'm taking Alabama in that matchup.
Yeah.
Well,
they obviously found a way to make it all work too. Yeah. But early on, Kansas State was giving them a ton of
10
problems.
zip.
Kansas State got up.
And then that drive, again, they took 8 minutes of clock, 18 plays. You get to the 1 yard line, you can't punch it in.
They couldn't punch it in. Yeah.
That's soul crushing to you.
It was soul crushing.
If you score there, it's soul crushing to Alabama because they get the ball back with a minute. They're probably just going in at half at 17-14. Again, I think the second half largely plays the way that it does.
It
because
would
the disparity
Yeah.
was there. But the blueprint was basically like, we can keep the ball away from you. It's no different than watching Army do that to Oklahoma a few years ago, where the discrepancy couldn't be bigger.
True.
But sitting on the ball, sitting on possession is a way that you can
possession.
And Kansas State's ability to do that, but also get into a shootout with TCU is kind of what makes the Big 12 fascinating.
It is.
Because they've clearly learned that you have to play different styles.
I don't know, Shay. For some reason, I just wanted to watch that game and say the talent discrepancy is not that big. I wanted to watch it and say, you know what?
Can't with Allen, probably.
No, you couldn't. It was very evident. Alabama
is loaded up with talent.
Ooh.
But that also makes me feel like Alabama underachieved.
Exactly. That's where I was
because
going
I
next.
look at these other teams like
That's
they
what I was
shouldn't have
saying
lost
next.
to Tennessee.
That's
They
what I
shouldn't have
was-
lost to LSU.
That's what I was going to say
They
next.
played like a board team at times.
Bama nearly lost to A&M. They were at the 3 yard line to close the game, won it. Texas field goal to end the game there.
I said to Jake early in the season when Alabama barely beat Texas, I thought Alabama looked like a team that didn't have a training camp.
Yeah.
That poorly coached.
They have 15 penalties that game, right? 15 of that
really
game.
bad
Texas.
discipline. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. And that penalty issue was an issue throughout the season.
It was.
But I thought early in the season they looked poorly coached. Strange.
Weird to say that.
It is, but they did. That's the way they looked against Texas for sure. I watched the entire game, and I thought the whole time they don't look like they're well coached. It looks like they skipped training camp. Now I'm with you though. They're loaded. They are loaded.
From a talent perspective, it's them in Georgia and then maybe Ohio
Yeah.
State.
So to say Alabama underachieved, absolutely underachieved. Now we didn't talk at all. Can you tease the next segment?
No, we're not going to the next segment yet.
Oh, so we get to the visitor now?
Yeah, I do want to get to that. Well, Nebraska does add to the class Ethan Nation and Cameron Lenhart on Tuesday during the All-American Bowl. And now Walter Rouse, the tackle from
Rouse. Okay.
That it is?
Well, no, I didn't know the exact pronunciation.
Roos, Rouse, right?
I was
R-O-U-S-E.
guessing Roos, but
Okay.
if I'm guessing it, it's usually wrong.
But this is no Roos. He's coming in.
Walter Rouse is coming in from Stanford.
I'm so
How dare you?
Wow.
What are Nebraska's
Your
chances?
excitement level for saying that was a little high
Yeah,
too.
well, that's typical
All right.
for him.
All right.
What do you
Break
expect
it down.
with Nebraska and Walter
Break
Rouse?
it down.
So it's Nebraska, Oklahoma, Iowa. Those are the three teams that we've heard on this.
Not Auburn?
I have not heard Auburn.
Okay. I thought Auburn was in it.
But I also haven't checked on this, since 7:00 last night. So it's not like I'm hour to hour here on it. But those three schools, what I know for sure, he's trying to get all of his visits done over this stretch right now, which includes, a couple days or basically like a day and a third at each stop. And from what I understand, it was going to go Iowa, Oklahoma, Nebraska. That's where I don't know. Does Auburn come in at the end? Or
hold on, just keep talking. I'll figure it out.
because what I heard, like Wednesday, Thursday, one place, Thursday, Friday, one place, Saturday, Sunday, one place, and then it's back to the dead period.
Yeah. Well,
That's what I had heard. Nebraska was going to get the Saturday, Sunday aspect of it.
I think
that's a multi-year starter from Stanford. Would be great depth and theoretically would immediately add, to your offensive line.
Could be your starting tackle.
Yeah.
Started 39 games at Stanford at left tackle, Jake.
I mean, in theory, it's a plug and play.
I don't know if he'd start ahead of Prohaska.
That's the thing. Like, so part of it, I know he can help so that you start there. Like, this would be a good addition in terms of depth. I don't know exactly where he falls on the line. Like, do they flip him to the right side so you keep the development of Prohaska the same, and then Corcoran's going inside and Benhart becomes depth for you as a tackle? Like, what that actually looks like, I don't know. You got to get there. It's a lot easier with Ben Scott because, like, okay, there's their center.
Yep.
Like, that one's pretty simple. This one, in terms of the construction of the offensive line, it's a little bit more difficult. It doesn't mean that you aren't going after him as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, would you classify this as seismic?
Yeah, this is big.
You need linemen
This is
here.
big. It's not
starting left tackle.
Yeah.
I would say the kid from Rhode Island was bigger, if that makes sense.
Cornelius,
It does make sense.
Johnny Cornelius.
Yeah.
But this is still like an important thing in terms of especially what they've done in the transfer portal, which has been really, interesting.
Oh,
as
this would be
as you
gigantic.
look at the summation of what they've gone out and
Mike,
got.
if they would add Walter Roos, I mean, you're talking about adding, as you mentioned, Ben Scott probably is your starting center.
2 multi-year Pac-12 starters.
Yeah. Roos, again, Jake, 39 game starter at Stanford, started as a true freshman. Now, and you're right. I don't know that he'd come in and play left tackle, but at the very least, he's one of your top 7 guys.
Oh, yeah. Which makes it easier because injuries are a thing that always occur. And then having options allows you to cycle players. If, part of why last year it maybe took a little longer is I don't know that they love the options they had behind their initial starting 5.
Evidently not. Hey, by the way, I don't know how you guys would respond to this. I'm a little freaked out. Last night I talked to Dave Remington for the Remington Award, which is in town and everything. I talk to Dave every year, and now this is the second former Nebraska. I don't know. Did Dominic win an Outland? Dominic Raiola win an Outland?
I believe so.
Former Nebraska All-American will say. Who the second one? Dominic said this, and Dave Remington. Certain that Prohaska is a certain first rounder. Both of them say that. It floors me.
His health is a concern right now.
That's a concern.
I mean,
but size
physical health is a concern. The mental health is a concern. He really struggled. He was the first to tell us like how much of a struggle it was for him to play last year against North Dakota, against Northwestern.
About size and athleticism, they say, "Oh no, he's a
from a measurable standpoint, he's like an off the chart guy."
Now I'm not telling you that I fully agree with those guys. I was just floored by how certain they are.
Yeah, I'd be floored by that too because I think he's got a long way to go to be a 7th rounder.
We were all pretty high on him when he played 2 years ago.
Yeah,
or last year, and he gets hurt, and then
a very nice half against Aiden Hutchinson,
right? And I talked
destroying the NFL right now,
right? Yeah, we mentioned those. Sip, my concern about I was glad coming back, but how was he coming back too quickly from an injury?
Oh yeah, Jake, well you're right about that. He came back too quick,
and when you have a big injury, when you have a leg injury,
he came back too quickly.
Out of pure
doubt comes into play.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that's always difficult is you're in a situation like Nebraska's coaching staff was last year. I mean, you're
desperate.
You're probably going to end up rushing a kid that maybe you otherwise wouldn't have, which is, unfortunate, but that's the cutthroat nature of trying to retain a job too.
Regarding Lenhart and Ethan Nation, who they get commits from on Tuesday, reaffirmed commits.
Cameron
Lenhart, edge rusher, and Ethan Nation, a defensive back. What do fans need to know about them? Well, who was after them, and how they end up getting their commitments?
Well, Ethan Nation apparently had over 50 offers on his 24/7 Sports profile. Now, both of these guys fall in the same category where I think as sophomores, as recruits, they were pretty highly regarded, earned a lot of early offers, and I don't think they grew the way that was projected necessarily. Both are tweeners. We're talking Ethan Nation's probably closer to 5'9" than he is 5'10". And so, that in itself makes things a little bit more challenging. It doesn't mean that he can't play. It doesn't mean that he can't contribute. But obviously, the bar is that much higher. It's not a height joke, but I guess it comes off.
That was a height
way.
joke.
It was not intended as I said it. For Ethan Nation there as a defensive back. And it's the same with Cameron Lenhart. And the thing with Lenhart that's fascinating to me is talking to Andrew Ivins, our guy at 24/7, who's our director of scouting. Like he thinks Ivins is, or not, excuse me, he thinks Lenhart has the ability to be a really good college football player, but it's going to come down to, do they have a plan for him? Because he kind of has the ability to play a lot of different positions, but he's also undersized at most of where he would end up at. And so this is a guy in high school that spent time as an inside linebacker, outside linebacker, a defensive tackle, and a defensive end.
So where do you play him?
In a 3-3-5.
Yeah.
What exactly does he look like?
If they play a 3-3-5.
And that's if they play a 3-3-5. Right. And if they're multiple, does he help you more in this role than he would in this role? And then, you have to have an idea of like, okay, this is what we want to do with him. Because if he gets here and we'll figure it out, those guys, a lot of times staffs don't figure that actually out.
Oh,
if you don't have a plan on the forefront, that kid is an afterthought. And Sipple and I can go through numerous examples of guys that never had a home.
It's scary, and it's sort of, now this is a bit of a stretch, but sort of the Ramir Johnson conversation.
Oh, yeah. He didn't have a position.
He didn't have a position.
There's like an offensive recruit or an offensive athlete.
When I heard last summer that they were tinkering with him at receiver, my first reaction was, "Uh-oh, that's not good." Why, Sipple? Why is that bad? He can help there. Because what is he? Which
He's
is
positionless then.
Which is he? Then you hear as the season went on, there was kind of confusion. Like Applewhite doesn't want him at running back, so he's got to play receiver. Well, he thinks he's going to play some running back too. Well, it gets muddled.
Right.
It gets muddled. You don't want muddled. If I'm a player, I'm saying, now wait a second. I can take some snaps at receiver, but I'm a running back.
The part about Ramir Johnson that I will never understand is Mark Whipple gets here and he just talks about him right away. And then in the spring, he's talking about him again. And in the spring and then in the fall, he's referred to as Brian Westbrook. And all of these things are sort of setting up for one direction. And then if you were to look at his first 8 games of the year, you would think they probably never talked about this guy in the office.
No, it was a ghost.
It was one of the more confusing things.
And Mike, because you're in the business, and often you find the truth as time goes on.
Yeah.
And and I don't mind saying on radio because I've heard it from good sources. This is an Applewhite discussion.
Yeah.
I don't think he wanted him at running back. So.
And I don't know how much Mickey wanted him at wide receiver.
See, now you're in lost land. You're in a lost land. You're right.
Which, I mean, they had, and I don't mind saying this either, they had recruits that they were bringing in that were destined for that until the coaching changed. And now they're in a far better situation. I mean, that's how you end up with the Ashley Williams, Cameron Lenhart situation you begin with.
Tweener's not a great word.
No.
It's not a
For a
great
football player, no. Tweener's not a great word.
But if you have a plan, it makes it a lot easier for them.
If you have any questions for Mike Schaefer, please call or text 402-464-5685. More next on Early Break on the Ticket.
Mike Schaefer here for Trek CBD. It's football season, and that means you're tailgating with friends, or if you're like me, yelling at the TV during Vikings games. Trek CBD variety of products that help. That I yell. Their CBD products. Whether you're looking for drinkable Delta 8 seltzers, hemp-derived Delta 9 syrups for your beverages, or anything else, Trek CBD has it all at 84th and Anderman. Trek CBD done right.
Bagels & Joe is celebrating 30 years of business this year. With 4 Lincoln locations and 1 in Seward, there's more options for your favorite breakfast spot in town. And don't forget the Joe card for unlimited drip coffee for just $8.95 per person per month. Bagels & Joe, celebrating 30 years of serving Lincoln and the surrounding areas. A new year means new goals and upgrading, but that doesn't only apply to health and fitness. Mullen Motors can get you into a new vehicle right now and get your 2023 started off the right way. They cleared off their 2022 inventory and have tons of new vehicles to choose from to make sure you get to where you need to be this year. Out with the old and in with the new. Stop by Mullen Motors today, just north of 48th and Lake.
No taglines, just quality vehicles, Mullenders.
Look at the car. It probably has a few dings and all over it. Don't be that guy. Get it upgraded and repaired at Renew Your Auto. At Renew Your Auto, they offer tons of services: ceramic coating, window tinting, paintless dent repair, washes and details, bed liners, body shop, and more. Where can you go to get services like that all in one place? Schedule your appointment today at renewyourauto.com. See what Renew can do for you. Hopcat exists at the intersection of great beer and delicious food, complemented by music, art, community, and comfort. Home to a best-in-class beer experience served by craft beer experts, guests can expect a casual, inviting local place with some of the best jam fries you'll find in Lincoln. Hopcat is your pregame headquarters for basketball and volleyball all long. Hopcat is located at 6th and P in the trip to Hopcat. Visit www.hopcat.com.
You finally finished your man cave in the basement. Brand new furniture, huge TV, all of your collector's items. You're ready for football season. You were so excited until one bad rain and it is all ruined. Don't risk a flooded basement and countless dollars in damages when it can be avoided. Call John Henry's today for a free sump pump estimate for your home.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batsterats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife and Prevention.
If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, call 988 for free, confidential, and compassionate support. On July 16th, the National Suicide Prevention Line is transitioning to 988. There is hope. For 24/7 support, call, text, or chat 988.
Sponsored by Nebraska DHHS, aired with the Nebraska Brothers Association and this station.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric brings exciting career opportunities for you or someone you know. They are now hiring plumbers and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive pay and full benefits packages that include health, dental, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive team environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
We're on the air.
Back
Well, party's starting early today, isn't it?
to more of Early Break with Sip and Jay, brought to you by Gaina Trucking. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you have any questions for Mike Schaefer, again, please call or text 464-5685 this hour, sponsored by Trek CBD 84th and Highway 2. Some news coming the next week or two of Trek CBD.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you have some news coming there.
What's going on?
Well, can't tell the news until it happens. There's no
I am sworn to secrecy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. There'll be news in the next week or two about Trek CBD. Good news. But 84th and Highway 2 still for all
that
your
was
needs.
quite a tease.
You're welcome, yeah. That's what I do.
You're
I tease
welcome.
things. Yeah.
I
Okay.
didn't say thank you.
I made you say thank you. It was assumed.
Yeah.
So AJ Allen, Anthony Grant are back for Nebraska. I think people are almost surprised maybe about both of those guys. Weren't sure what to expect. Brian Applewhite, of course, brings AJ Allen from TCU. Applewhite's gone. Allen stays with an NIL deal. I don't know if it's big, what it is, but NIL deal. Anthony Grant as well. I would ask Schaefer
with
in
an
general.
NIL deal, by the way.
Both of them. Yeah. Level of surprise that both of those guys are back, or either of them are back.
Yeah, I would say I'm pretty surprised both are back. I getting one of the two maybe wouldn't be as much of a surprise. But I'm fascinated to see how this plays out. I know going into last year, I kind of said that it wouldn't surprise me if AJ Allen was your running back in November, like if it builds to that point. I think we were heading towards that, prior to his injury in the Oklahoma game. It was the Oklahoma game, right?
It was the Oklahoma game.
Yep,
Late in the Oklahoma.
2 years in a row, freshman running back goes down against Oklahoma. That's weird. I am very excited to see where AJ Allen is at next fall. I think if healthy and return to the form that he was kind of showing, that's a guy that just felt like one of the better running backs that we've seen come through Nebraska.
Good
I'm
vision.
interested-
Good vision for him.
Now that we're talking about, I'm interested. Why? I'm not. Why did you think Anthony Grant would not be back? Where would he have gone?
Well,
NFL?
Obviously, the start of his year, you wonder if he's looking at that. He's also one of the kind of the older guys. I think he'll be 23, 24
Yeah, he's definitely
next season.
in that realm.
And so then you get into that in that point. It's been interesting to me, and so I'm glad you actually brought this up. Talking with some guys that have either recently, aged out or whatever else, and then looking around the rest of college football, there's more people that have walked away from a chance to take that 6th year or that extra year and just go see what, if they don't get drafted, if they make a training camp, they end up with the USFL or the XFL. Like there seems to be more of a willingness to walk away from college football than I had baked into all of those extra years being granted.
I am,
and I am curious what that's about.
Well, you know what it's about. It's about being in college 6 years. That's a
That's
lot.
a long time.
It's a long time, and it's a long time to play football.
Yeah,
it's a lot of beating.
It
on your body.
also tells you that like the big money NIL things are rare. Like you're not, some of these guys aren't
They
going
are
to
rare.
get more than a $1,500 thing for
I don't
sticking
wanna-
around
I don't
or
wanna
whatever
put-
it is.
I don't want to put
a
attach
number
to
on it.
But I want to say this. I don't think you have AJ Allen here without an NIL deal.
Well, that's a different story because you're talking about a kid that's in his 2nd year and someone
Oh yeah.
from Louisiana that has opportunities. Without a doubt, he goes into the portal. He's going to have opportunity.
Blows up, right?
We thought he'd be gone. You and I both thought
Yeah.
he's not coming back.
But not every situation's the same because I look
it's
at
not.
I look at Dakotas Crawford and he went into the portal and I just thought I don't know where you're going to go.
Right.
And he had a couple of early offers come in, but how real were those?
No,
If he
it's a
tried to
gr-
follow
it's
up
a
on
great
it. And
point.
now, I mean, it felt like he wanted to try to come back to Nebraska. I don't know where that's at with everything. But the day he went in, I thought to myself, this isn't good for you.
Exactly.
Because
There's an
to me, you're
assumption
leaving the level that you're at and you're not getting back to the big.
Yeah. Now, what you have to build into this conversation is something that people don't necessarily do. They don't make distinctions. There's a big distinction between AJ Allen's talent level and Dakotas Crawford's. And that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
Dakotas Crawford didn't have a lot available to him. AJ Allen would have a lot available to him. Dakotas Crawford, if he wanted to come back to Nebraska right now, I don't think he could.
Wow.
I don't think
I
they take
agree.
it. I don't think
I
they take it.
completely agree.
Yeah. And there's a couple other guys like that. And they're not all the same. All these situations are different. Coaches know talent level. And AJ Allen's is at another spot. Now, as far as Anthony Grant goes, would he be back without NIL? Probably not. What's the NFL discussion with him now? I
don't think he's an NFL running back.
It's close.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just close, right?
Yeah.
Like Dedrick Mills got in a camp.
I felt better about Dedrick Mills as probably an
Ooh.
NFL running back than Anthony Grant.
Really?
But some of that is it's hard to separate how the year ended. You played the better defenses, and then it's also like Chubba Purdy and Logan Smothers were your quarterbacks. You weren't really able to move the ball. Your offensive line wasn't particularly good.
How many times was he hit behind the line of scrimmage?
And
a ton.
I give him a ton of credit for what he did, early in the season when he was having to create his own holes and having to do all of that. So I don't mean to diminish the talent. I also just don't know if I see him as an NFL running.
That's close.
Like it's
if he is, he's just kind of sneaking onto a roster. like Ozigbo, kind of like that right now.
Yeah, he's been
Ozigbo
jumping around.
Ozigbo jumped
Practice
around.
squads,
Well, I
regular
think he got cut off the practice
He did,
squad
by
at
the
Denver.
Broncos,
Yeah,
just
But-
recently.
Yeah, that's the kind of guy you're
Yeah.
looking at, though.
Yep. A fringe player.
Fringe player. Yeah.
Schaefer, there's a lot of confusion
Oh.
from the fan base on a particular hire by Matt Rule. Garrett McGuire is
only one.
Well, there's several, but I go to that
My
one. and
message board disagrees.
Okay, a lot of them, but maybe the
Just
most
wanna shout those
regarding
guys out.
A
It's been a week.
24-year-old receivers coach, the son of Joey McGuire, the Texas Tech head coach. Garrett McGuire is the receivers coach for Matt Rule. If you were to try to explain this one to the fan base or talk them off the ledge of those who are concerned about this, how
do you do
that? Can you? What was your response to that hire?
I mean, so what in it specifically are we discussing? The fact that he's 24 years old?
Probably
is
so.
that part of it?
Experience, 24
Because,
years old, sure.
I mean,
recruiting ability.
It seems like there's this portrait of what we think an assistant football coach is. And then we always kind of forget that they have to start somewhere and they have to, before you can have a 20-year career and be a 44-year-old assistant coach, you got to start somewhere.
Yep.
And occasionally some people get their start very early on. And Lincoln Riley was 24 years old when he became a wide receivers coach at Texas Tech. And Lane Kiffin was 26 when he became a tight ends coach at USC. And things like that exists. And especially when you come from a football family like Garrett McGuire does with his dad, who's the coach at Texas Tech, grew up around football, went to Baylor, grew up around the staff, went to Carolina. This isn't just like plucking a random 24-year-old that has a bunch of Madden experience and putting him on your staff.
Good gamer.
This is a guy who's been around your system for a while and has been around coaching for a lot longer than a while.
That was a very reasonable.
That all being said, it doesn't mean it's guaranteed to work, but I don't know why we're assuming that it has to be a failure because he's 24 years old. It's comical to me because the idea of and this is part of getting old and having a job for a while and getting old, it's things continuously change. I can't think of a lot of times where assistant coaches have been noticeably younger than me when I'm interviewing them.
Yeah,
So
strange.
that's
going to be
humorous.
weird. Yeah.
And that's but in the sense of how this all works, can't pretend like Nebraska is the only one that does this. I think Michigan's tight ends coach is 26. Minnesota just hired a defensive line coach that's 24. In order to be a long-time coach, you got to get into coaching, and sometimes people get opportunities early on.
Yeah,
I don't know that it's going to work,
Yeah.
but it all comes back to Matt Rule very early on. For all the people that had fantasy booked what they thought the coaching staff should be, 50 years of experience, but never spent a minute in a room with Matt Rule, he said very early on, I like to work with guys that I know.
Yep.
What has he done? He's assembled a staff of people that he's pretty much all either worked with or had coached. Tony White was a player at UCLA. Everyone else has spent time with Matt Rule.
We've evolved as a fan base because I remember distinctly Bo Pelini being ripped to shreds for hiring his buddies. And I always would think, well, isn't that what you do? I mean,
literally every coach I've ever covered.
Right.
Bo hired his buddies.
Yeah. Buddies, but guys
Mike Riley brought along his buddies.
You're familiar with. Yeah.
Scott Frost brought the entire buddy system.
Every single one of them.
And now Matt Rule's hiring his buddies' kids.
But anyway,
that might have been a real
that was
post,
a very
I don't know.
reasonable answer. The most reasonable answer.
What it
I've
tells
heard.
me is that I think Garrett McGuire is probably going to be a head coach someday.
Yeah, he's probably Rules identified
Because
him
when
as
you get these sort of football families like a Kiffin, like a Weiss, I mean, Charlie Weiss Jr. was a 24-year-old offensive coordinator for Lane Kiffin. These things.
If you're Nebraska,
to be Sean McVay, you have to start somewhere.
Yeah, that's what. And if you're a Nebraska fan, what you're hoping is in 15 years, you're looking at this and saying, Rule hired that guy.
Yeah,
he's coaching the Cowboys now.
Pretty cool.
And a lot of guys that he's hired in similar fashion have been pretty successful.
Turned out well.
Now the thing you got to do though is we got to ask Rule this is if Mike Schaefer has a son who's a 4-star, 5-star receiver who's being courted by USC, Texas, Alabama, Georgia. Why is he going to Nebraska to play for a young?
He's got to win people over.
Yeah.
No question. Yeah. And he's got to be able to recruit.
Yeah.
And my thing is, I think Matt Rule knows that. And I think he would have the best, evaluation of it. My biggest question is, if you're Marcus Washington and you're the same age as your wide receivers coach.
Yeah.
How can he coach you?
Right.
That's more of where I'm
critical
at.
questions.
If you're, when you got these older players right now in college football,
Great question.
how does
Great
he
point.
reach him?
Right.
Player-coach relationship.
Yeah, how's that respect level? I don't,
Yeah,
right. It's going to be strange.
Yeah.
It's going to be strange. Let's play the game. So give us a call right now at 464-568. 5 chance to win a business box of bagels to Bagels and Joe. SIP has started off the new year very strong. 2-0, 2-0.
He's just been rolling for like a 9-month stretch.
He has. We didn't play a game Monday because we weren't here, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, he has won both games.
Yes.
Going to for a 3-0 start to the week. Schaefer,
Nice.
you're in play.
Come on.
Today, we're going back to Throwback Thursday.
Oh, the year and everything?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
The music?
Well, I'm not going to play songs. I'm going to give you
Oh.
the name of the song.
Been a while.
Yeah.
Like years.
How about a random year, 1982?
I like it.
Sip, you were locked in there.
I was
16
still
years
locked
old.
in.
You were locked
Yeah.
in. You're
Yeah,
still
about-
locked in.
I had about 3 years to go before I faded out.
If
so.
you think you know your 1982
When were your walkabout
trivia.
years?
What's that?
When were your walkabout years?
What's that mean?
You always describe like that you were in a fog for like a 3-year stretch.
I'm not going to get into that.
That's private info.
Well, I'm not asking why.
5685. Shut up, Sipple starts right now.
We've all been there.
That's fine.
You're listening to the radio, and then that rage starts to grow inside of you. It starts to consume to a point where you just want to yell, "Shut up, Sipple!" No, sorry. I'm sorry. Well, here's your chance. It's time to shut up, Sipple. Call now to play. 464-5685. Shut up, Sipple. Brought to you by Bagels and Joe.
Can he keep the undefeated week alive? 2-0 start. 3-0 maybe today with Schaefer in studio. 1982 is the trivia.
Schaefer, this is going to be weird. This is going to be weird. So
All right.
get ready for
Why
weird.
is that?
Because you are weird.
I'm prepared for weird. I don't know what it means.
And you will have some weirdness.
There's
in
some
this.
weirdness today.
Yeah.
Maybe. If you can hear us, you're playing the game show. Who do we have today? Can you hear us, caller? Are you there?
Hola.
Try somebody else. All right. If you can hear us, caller, you're playing the game show. Who do we have today?
Dave.
Dave.
Dave. Good job, Dave. Good job.
Right.
Call him.
Dave, yeah, listen to Dave.
Yeah, he's right.
Step to the plate. Step to the plate.
All right, Dave. Schaefer, a lifeline for SIP. One question as always. First question goes to you, Dave. What 1982 movie had the famous quote, "They're here"?
That would be Poltergeist.
Poltergeist is correct.
I thought this was music.
No, there is music involved.
Okay.
This is
It was
19.
just 1982.
Did you know there's always a music
I
question.
did not know that.
Ooh, scary.
Did you know that?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you watch that movie?
No. Okay. But it's iconic.
All right, 1-0 lead for Dave. SIP first question. What team did Penn State beat in the national championship in the 1982 football season? College football season, excuse me. What team did Penn State beat in the national championship for the 1982 college football season?
You don't know?
I don't.
Well, I'm going to have
like I have a guess, but I don't have a strong guess.
5 seconds. 5, 4,
count it down.
3.
Alabama.
It is not Alabama, Dave. Do you want that question or not?
No, I think I'm going to pass.
That'd be the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia. What's that face for?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Alabama was my guess. So
Well, it's never a bad guess with Bama, but it's not right.
Well, it would be
they
a
had
bad
a big win against them at some point.
All right. For the win, Dave, your last question. For the win. What band sang the 1982 song Abracadabra?
That'd be a Steve Miller Band.
Had that one.
And there goes the undefeated week. Dave says, not so fast, my friend. Take you down.
That wasn't weird either. Good job on your.
It wasn't weird. No. Congrats, Dave.
Great
You get
job,
your bagels. Calling down the road. Nice win this morning.
Right.
All right, good
You're
stuff.
welcome. Dave Schaefer, I'm kind of impressed that Schaefer knew Abracadabra was Steve Miller.
Yeah, I think I have like 7 Steve Miller songs on my phone. That might be one of them.
Nice. That's impressive. That's a friend of the show, Steve Miller.
He's a friend of the show.
Well, we like those songs.
We like a couple Steve Miller
Jungle
songs.
Love.
Friend of the show makes it seem like he's
He's
your
been
friend
on-
that
he's
listens to
been
the
on the
show,
show,
or
yeah.
comes on the show.
Yeah.
when what you really mean is that you enjoy his catalog of music.
He's a friend of the show.
All right, it's a little
But he
misleading.
doesn't know that you exist.
He's a little misleading. I'd like to think we could get him on sometime.
Hey, Steve, you want to sing us a song real quick?
I would.
We've often discussed, or we've discussed it in a little bit, trying to get rock and roll.
We should do it.
Figures on our show as guests. Yeah, that'd be a good one to.
Ever in town, we need it.
Doesn't have to be in town.
What if they're in town? They can come in studio with us.
Just
sing
contact Steve Miller's agent and say we have a song of the day. You've been part of it, so we'd love to have.
Because you
on.
play the song of the day live for us on the air.
I like how simple it sounds.
Yeah, it's like, we're trying to help.
We
you
have
out.
a song of the day. We have a rock and roll based segment every day, and we would like to have rock and roll singers on. Say we never. We could have.
You'd be the first.
Yeah, the first of many. Yeah. Or if we could just get his drummer.
You gotta start with somewhere. Then if it goes well, then more people want on the show.
Wouldn't that be amazing if we got Steve Miller on there?
I think it needs to be the singer from Blue October because
Yes, we gotta we
like your
have
first one has to be that.
You just started to hate me today. Hate me today. Yeah, we got to get Blue October.
Like it, I just feel like it has to be that guy.
It's gotta
based
be
on
Blue
that
October.
story.
It has to be.
That I saw in
The
airport.
Omaha airport.
Hey, we've crossed paths before.
Yeah, you don't remember me, but I remember you. I saw you
because I walked up fast next to you.
It's the most alarming thing to me ever that you know this guy.
I would never know the
in
Blue
the
October
wild.
singer ever.
I would not have a clue.
Saw him come out of the gate and thought, "Oh, that is definitely."
And it was his boots, right? Like you were like something about the guy's boots.
He had
made you-
boot. Well, no, I just recognized him from the album cover.
Boots.
I remember the boots being
He
like
had
part of the
boots.
I don't
story.
even know what the guy looks like. I would not have a clue in the world. Blue October.
Yeah, well, all you
like
gotta
the
do is
band.
Google him.
I
Jake.
like the band. Like a couple other
And
songs.
then we discovered that he has some sort of connection in
yeah.
Omaha.
I think he's got a daughter. Maybe.
Yeah, daughter in
daughter
Omaha.
in Omaha.
Yeah.
So,
Probably coming to visit his daughter in
Mm.
July. That's what.
how about that? Schaefer's been fun.
It's been a
God,
blast.
Schaefer, that was incredible.
How was
We got a new poll up, by the way.
What is the question for those out there?
It's only- last week.
It's on a grease board.
Yeah.
Last week it was Hakeem versus Shaq. Before that, it was Justin Jefferson or Tyreek Hill. Who would you rather have?
So the results: Jefferson won the poll over Tyreek Hill. Hakeem Olajuwon won 6-3
yeah, that
over
was a
Shaq.
surprise. That was a big surprise.
Hakeem won 6-3 over Shaq, and then
Yes.
today's poll.
Moving away from sports to breakfast food items. It's a standard question: French toast, pancakes, or waffle. You got to pick one.
Yeah, well, we'll do that during the break.
That's a horrifying.
Fascinated to see what these
We'll
results.
see how
are
it
when I
goes.
come
It
back
won't,
in
the
next
board will
episode.
not be erased. It'll keep.
Yeah, whoever wanted Mike White versus Russell Wilson, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
These aren't the
don't-
questions people.
This
sit
is the
around and
Schaefer
discuss.
poll of the week. We don't erase the Schaefer poll of the week.
Pancakes, waffles, or French toast.
Tough one.
Ooh.
I'm gonna watch you vote for yours. It's been fun, Schaefer. Thank you.
All right, guys.
Mike
Have a good
Schaefer.
one.
See you next Thursday. The spillover with Raph and AD is next on early break and the ticket.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, medical insurance, company match, and employee assistance program. Trucking. Learn more.
Bagels & Joe is celebrating 30 years of business this year. With 4 Lincoln locations and 1 in Seward, there's more options for your favorite breakfast spot in town. And don't forget the Joe card for unlimited drip coffee for just $8.95 per person per month. Bagels & Joe, celebrating 30 years of serving Lincoln and the areas.
Hey guys, this is Lindsay Teal from Nebraska Golf Team. Imagine golfing the best courses in the world. St. Andrews, Pebble Beach, Southern Hills, the best of the best. You can play those courses and more without ever leaving the city of Lincoln at Double Eagle Golf. Double Eagle has the city's best golf simulators, 5 high-quality bays that track ball speed, launch angle, club speed, spin rate, and more to give you the most accurate gameplay. Check it out for yourself year-round. Double Eagle Golf, just 5 minutes from downtown at the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street.
Mike Sheffer. It's football season, and that means you're tailgating with friends, or if you're like me, yelling at the TV during Vikings games. Trek CBD has a variety of products that help calm you down during the games, so don't scare my dog. But in the rare cases that I yell too much, there's CBD products for him, too, and all other pets. Whether you're looking for drinkable Delta 8 seltzers, hemp-derived Delta 9 syrups for your beverages, or anything else, Trek CBD has it all at 84th and Anderson. Trek CBD, CBD done right.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM for 97 The Ticket.
A new year means new goals and upgrading, but that doesn't only apply to health and fitness. Mullen Motors can get you into a new vehicle right now and get your 2023 started off the right way. They cleared off their 2022 inventory and have tons of new vehicles to choose from to make sure you get to where you need to be this year. Out with the old and in with the new. Stop by Mullen Motors today, just north of 48th and Lake.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Hopcat exists at the intersection of great beer and delicious food, complemented by music, art, community, and comfort. Home to a best-in-class beer experience served by craft beer experts, guests can expect a casual, inviting local gathering place with some of the best damn burgers and fries you'll find in Lincoln. Hopcat is your pregame headquarters for basketball and volleyball all along. Hopcat is located at 6th and P in the Haymarket. To plan your next trip to Hopcat, visit www.hopcat.com.
You finally finished your man cave in the basement. Brand new furniture, huge TV, and all of your collector's items. You're ready for football season. You were so excited until one bad rain and it is all ruined. Don't risk a flooded basement and countless dollars in damages when it can be avoided. Call John Henry's today for a free sump pump estimate for your home.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing.
Tractor Supply is looking for full-time team members for Distribution Center. Tractor Supply has a new progressive pay model where team members receive 5 wage increases in the first 2 years of employment with the ability to earn up to $24 per hour. Applicants can expect a 3- and 4-day work week schedule with additional overtime days with both day and night shift schedules available. At Tractor Supply, they work hard, have fun, and make money. Jobs.
The Empire brand is growing with ESC fabrication and sandblasting. ESC is your place for custom handrails, industrial and commercial painting, and more. ESC provides custom for media blasting of all sorts. ESC is great attention to detail. They stick to deadlines and keep within your budget. If you can dream it, they can make it. Contact ESC Fabrication and Sandblasting in Waverly today at 531-207-9329.
This is Megan Whitaker from the Nebraska golf team. If you put your clubs away for the winter, it's time to get them back out. There's no need to stop thanks to Double Eagle Golf. Double Eagle is home to Lincoln's best indoor golf simulators. It's perfect for every level of golfer, with everything from casual games for the kids to hyper-realistic simulations of some of the best courses in the world. And the best part, no matter what the weather's doing outside, it's always golf weather inside. See for yourself. Double Eagle Golf, just 5 minutes from downtown at the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street.
Sandhills Global is hiring. Check out sandhills.jobs for more information. Sandhills is looking to fill hundreds of new openings in sales, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Sandhills has a professional culture and is fast-paced with a focus on growth, innovation, and leading-edge technologies. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Apply today at sandhills.jobs.
We're on the air.
Back
Well, party's starting early today, isn't it?
to more of Early Break with Sip and Jay, brought to you by Gaina Trucking. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, it is time for the spillover. Raph is here today. AD
Hi, Raph.
out
Hello.
today, coming in later. Where's AD at today?
He is in Norfolk, Nebraska.
Not Virginia.
Not Virginia. It's just up north, 3 hours.
Is there any other Norfolks? Norfolk, Nebraska.
I'm sure there are other Norfolks out there. Do they all say it as Norfolk instead of Norfolk, though? Probably not. Like, what do they say in Virginia? They probably say Norfolk in Virginia, not Norfolk like they do here.
Unclear.
That's my
Well, I'm
guess.
just glad Raph's here.
Yeah, Raph, good to have you here.
Hello. Glad to be here.
Do you have a big weekend planned?
A big weekend planned? No, not really.
It's probably a question for Friday more than Thursday.
Come on, more days still.
Jake's really tolerant.
I am tolerant. I put up
Should
a
we
lot of
ask him
things
about?
here.
Should we ask him about the?
So I heard. Are you going to Miami this weekend, or?
Yeah, do I get my travels out there or what? Yeah, I'll be gone.
I heard rumor. Are you going to the game or?
So I will be in attendance for Dolphins Jets.
So this is Mr.
Wait a second.
This is Mr. I'm in hell. We're done. Never doing this again. I'll be in attendance.
Well, I'm depressed going into it because we're going to probably lose. The Dolphins are starting Skylar Thompson at quarterback.
How depressed could you be going into it? You're going to Miami.
I'm depressed about the fact that the Dolphins were 8-3. I thought they were actual Super Bowl contenders, and now they need to win a game with a third-string quarterback and have the Patriots lose to the Bills.
Ralph,
That's why I'm depressed.
He is my daily radio partner. I did not know he was going to the game.
You knew I was going to Hawaii.
Okay. I think they were talking about it on Old School last night. I believe.
Oh yeah, probably so.
But they never said anything whether you were going to the game or not. They just
I'm
said
going.
you were to
Well, the
Miami,
thing is
so.
this:
You're going to Jets Dolphins on Sunday?
Yes.
You're going in the game. Are you going with Lee?
No. I hope to see Lee down there.
Lee
His
Sterling.
daughter's in town, so he's kind of occupied,
Okay.
with her and the
Sure.
family. But no, I'm trying to. I will buy. I've not bought tickets yet, but the tickets are going down a lot by the day, so I'm glad I didn't buy them ahead of time.
How much will you spend for tickets?
Well, let's just say this: 2 weeks ago, the cheapest ticket I saw on Ticketmaster was like $190 per ticket. I saw yesterday the lowest ticket I've seen is like $80 a ticket. It's because number one, the Jets are out of the playoffs, eliminated. The Dolphins have lost 5 straight. They're not starting Tua or Teddy. It's gonna be Teddy. It's gonna be Skylar Thompson, rookie 7th-round pick from Kansas State. So expectations are low, and the team has lost their buzz since November. So that's why the tickets have dropped. But typically, when I'm in Miami, I'm a good luck charm for the Dolphins.
Okay. There we go.
I've seen them lose one time, my first ever game in Kansas City. They got beat 48-31 in 2002. I cried at the stands. My dad said, "Stop crying." He said, "Don't cry."
How old were you?
I was 11. You were crying. Yes. My dad said, "Don't cry." And he was right. I shouldn't have been crying. It was stupid.
Taking it.
I was pissed because all these Chiefs fans we're going to beat the hell out of you. And they're in my ears.
Yeah,
They're
you're 11 years old.
Yeah, I'm just, they're in my ear. I'm donning my Dolphins attire, and I'm just getting.
Why are Chiefs fans so mean?
Exactly.
As the text line just goes.
Yeah, exactly, Ralph. But that's the only loss I've ever seen. My first ever game is the only time I've seen them lose.
That's
I saw them
amazing.
beat the Vikings in Minnesota.
They're going to win.
Saw them beat. They've won 3 times in my attendance in Miami.
They're going to win Sunday and be in the playoffs. That gets them in,
and
right?
Tua might then play the next
Does
week.
that get them in?
Well, if the Patriots lose to the Bills have a lot of stuff going on in their minds with Damar Hamlin here, and who knows where they're at mentally going into that game.
Yeah.
I hope that they're fighting. They play that game for him and say, you know
They
what?
will.
Yeah.
Hey, this is
They
for
will.
Damar.
They will.
We
play
are
for it.
certainly distraught. We're sad, but we're not losing this game for you, Damar.
I'd read that his father had spoke to the team yesterday, and they said the team needed that. I mean, who wouldn't need it? But they said that it helped them a little bit. But yeah, just what they're going through. Like I continue to harken back to my past, and I had something similar happen to me in the same. And I mean, it took months before I was, back to like normal again. It took years before I quit seeing the vision in my head. So I feel so bad for those guys, but but you do get through it, one way or the other, you do get through it.
How about this from the text line real quick? Bird in Columbus says, Jake, my 9-year-old daughter now claims the Dolphins. I 100% blame you. We listen together in the mornings.
Oh no.
I'm sorry to bring your
Bird,
daughter
thank
down
you.
in this terrible life I have lived with.
But thanks for listening with your daughter.
Yeah.
We need to foster young listeners.
Bird, start listening to the drive so
Jay-
then she can become a Broncos fan.
That's right. Jay Foreman has chimed in, as you know, Jay would. Yeah. He says Bills will win and Dolphins will lose because the Dolphins are losers.
He said that.
That's right there in the text line. It's gonna be. It'll be either this. There's 2 things that will happen on Sunday. It'll either be the Dolphins have a great win with Skylar Thompson and the Patriots upset the Bills, so Dolphins are out, or the Patriots will lose and the Dolphins will lose and the Steelers will win, and AD's team from the depths of hell will somehow make the playoffs despite being at 2-6 at one point.
What is your level of confidence with Skylar Thompson?
Not high.
Why is that?
He's a rookie 3rd-string quarterback from Kansas State, 7th-round pick. Now, he was great in the preseason, but guess what? Week 18 ain't the preseason. That's the real deal. That's like you win and you might be in. You lose and you're for sure out.
Pressure.
And you're riding a 6-game losing
See if he's a
skid
gamer.
into the offseason.
You learn a lot about him.
If I'm the coaches for the Dolphins, I'm going up to Skylar. I'm saying, Skylar, here's the deal. We probably need like 3 or 4 chunk plays out of you today.
Yep. Okay.
We're gonna put Tyreek down the sideline.
Just hit him.
Just throw it up.
Seriously.
Take your chances.
Seriously.
It's like
or Waddle. You got two of the
sometimes-
fastest guys.
Sometimes I feel these NFL coaches get maybe, and even college, they get a little too much in their heads and they're trying to scheme. When use the talent that you have out there. I mean, Tyreek Hill, he's a freak. I mean, a freak. Just get him the ball. Let him decide. Don't.
No, that makes sense.
Well, here's the deal, Raph.
That makes sense,
Okay,
right?
on that note, when the Dolphins played the Jets earlier in the season, Tua didn't play, concussion. Teddy Bridgewater was out for the first play of the game, got a concussion. So here comes Skylar Thompson. He's already played the Jets. He played a full game against the Jets.
Okay.
And his best offense, Raph, was what you just said. Pass interferences deep to Tyreek Hill. He chucked it deep. I think Tyreek got 4 deep pass interferences that game. That was your best offense, was chuck it up, have Sauce Gardner be too aggressive, and get a penalty.
Raph's right.
I mean, if you're going to go down, throwing to your best player. I mean, that's.
Or
and
Waddle.
it's not like, you have Jalen Waddle on the other side.
You got some studs.
Yeah.
Cedric Wilson's a good third option. Trent
Gesicki.
Sherfield.
What about Gesicki?
Gesicki's an option.
It's not like you have a running back you can just turn the hand to.
Raheem Mostert is fine. He's had up and down season. Jeff Wilson Jr. runs hard. I mean, the Dolphins, they have talent. They just shoot themselves in the foot. Even that game against the Patriots, they're up 14-7. Okay, let's just the Patriots offense is terrible. So what happens then? They give up a couple chunk plays, Pats get a field goal, and then Teddy Bridgewater throws a pick 6. You can't give away possessions on pick 6s. In interceptions, one thing. To return to the house is a different thing.
I saw it, and I just cringed because I thought about you.
It was 3rd and 15. He threw it to triple coverage.
Yep,
Kyle Duggar comes down and say thank you, and he runs down the sideline. And once again, stiff arms Teddy, is great at effort.
Yeah.
Great effort player, Teddy Bridgewater.
He doesn't
On that play, he hurt his pinky. Can't throw the football right now. He hurt his pinky.
God, don't get me started.
This is passion.
Oh, it's
Look what
beautiful.
you've done.
Okay, so what time is your game on
1
Sunday?
p.m. Eastern, noon this time.
Okay.
Same as Bills
I might
Patriots.
watch that.
You won't be on local. You could go to the sports bar and watch. There's no way that'd be the local game. But if the Dolphins lose, I've accepted the season has been lost.
I might do that.
So maybe my acceptance will be a good luck charm that they actually win, Patriots lose, and I can watch. My only goal this year was just make the playoffs. I didn't care if they won the division. I just want to make the playoffs.
Well, you got a great.
The Dolphins have made the playoffs 2 times in the last 20 years.
I'm still saying you have a great chance.
Should I repeat that? Dolphins have made the playoffs 2 times in the last 20 seasons.
I'm sorry, that's not good.
2008 and 2016.
You're freaking the young bird out.
I am.
Yeah.
Bird, yeah.
Bird and his 9-year-old.
Bird's like, should I be?
I don't.
Dolphins fan?
Raps had a tough last 7 years, but guess what? That 7 year was a Super Bowl win.
Yeah.
I'm talking about 2 playoff appearances in 20 years.
Any update on Jim Harbaugh?
No, nothing yet. And another name popped up though. I saw Frank Reich. I was
okay.
Makes
Yeah, I
sense.
think
that name came up. So.
He's a quarterbacks guy, right?
And he's
He
a
coaches-
prior coach.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Frank Reich?
I think I'd be, he's crafty offensive mind, would be somebody good to work with Russell.
Yeah.
He's a respected coach in this league too.
Isn't he basically a quarterbacks coach at his core?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, Reich makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Old, and you agree that it has to be an old hand. I mean,
Yeah,
a
it's
veteran.
got to be
coach.
somebody that's had experience
Yeah,
coaching in the
yeah.
NFL.
Not necessarily old, but veteran.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see about that.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Raph. The drive with Raph and Nick is next for Steve Sipple. I'm Jake Sorensen. See ya.
Mike Schaefer here for Trek CBD. It's football season. You're tailgating with friends, or if you're like me, yelling at the TV